Game today. Corey Curtis from News 2 joining us at 8 o'clock. We'll take your thoughts all show long on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Vols get blown out on Saturday at Sanford Stadium down there in Athens. The Dogs were barking, as they say, Joe Rexrode. Georgia wins 27-13 in a game where actually, I think, Joe, the score for Tennessee maybe looks a little bit closer than it actually was on the field out there on Saturday, which I guess could ultimately end up being a good thing for Tennessee at the end of the day. But that was a pretty dominant performance from the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think the score is pretty kind to Tennessee. Look, they left some touchdowns on the table too, but Georgia went pretty conservative, and the rain did have some impact in the second half too. I think on both offenses throwing the ball. It was domination, and I got to say, my biggest takeaway from that game is not about Tennessee. It really is about Georgia. They've got the team again. It's incredible that you could lose 5 first-round picks and 8 draft picks off of defense and still be that loaded and just good. They're just so sound. They make every open field tackle. They win up front. They've got pros in the back end. It's the national championship favorite, period.
Well, they were awesome in that game. And the defense that we talked about, maybe not being as good as last year's defense, they looked as good as last year's defense on Saturday. Now, I still don't think, the overall picture is quite the same for that Georgia defense as it was a year ago. But, Joe, the thing that stood out to me is, Keely Ringo and those guys in the secondary, I think, did an outstanding job on Tennessee. And the pass rush that we talked about not being very successful thus far for Georgia in terms of the sack number, well, that changed on Saturday. They got after Hendon Hooker all day long. They were able to corral him. They were able to get him to the ground a few times. I thought some of the decision-making by Hendon Hooker was not very good. And then when the balls were thrown, it's a one-on-one matchup with Ringo and Tillman. Most of the time you'll take your chances with Cedric Tillman out there, and Ringo comes down with the ball. And just one of those games where Georgia looked like the better team in pretty much every conceivable way.
Yeah, look, if you really want to boil down Tennessee, they are where they are. Yes, great scheme, and you got some great talent, offensive line talent and the receivers. But if you really want to boil it down, they're where they are because Hendon Hooker has been incredible. If you don't have someone who can process information quickly, get the ball out quickly, get it there accurately, hit those deep balls when they're there, all the stuff that he does, and then when needed, break out of the pocket and make big plays with his feet, then great. You can draw up your offense on a napkin and impress everybody. It doesn't mean anything. He's the reason that they got to this stage more than anything on Saturday. And to me, look, his performance was the biggest problem. There were plays there to be made. It's very easy to sit here and say from the from the press box, why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? But there were a lot of those sacks. Georgia brought some pressures that got there, especially late. There were a couple that got there fast, and then they didn't protect him. There's nothing he can do. But I'd say 4 of the 6, he had a lot of time. And, you got to at least just make the decision to throw the ball away, and he didn't do that. So it was just, it was a rough day for him. I start with giving Georgia credit, but ultimately, Hendon Hooker, I think lost the Heisman. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He lost the Heisman, and he was the guy. I'll be interested to see this week where that goes. But when you have a game like this and you perform like that, that's what's going to happen. You can win them and you can lose them in those moments. But at the same time, you got 3 games left. He and they should get back rolling. And I'm not convinced that if they play Georgia again, if they get Georgia away from that place made my head hurt. Like literally, I had a pulsing headache at the end of that game because it was so outrageously loud in there. Eric Ainge, man, dude, just stop.
Just be quiet.
Whatever you're talking about. It's so, that place was incredible.
All that barking.
A lot of barking going on.
Well, there was. I sent you guys a nice video.
You did.
Of an adult man. I wish I would have been filming earlier though, because like every player that went by, he and like his wife or girlfriend were like, I was like, gosh, you guys are really aggressive. But I'm not convinced that Tennessee. Where would it be? How about, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, and, with both fan bases represented, with weather taken out as a factor, that Tennessee couldn't come out and have a very productive, high-scoring game against Georgia. So we'll see if they get another opportunity. They actually, Saturday was pretty good for them in that way, other than their own performance.
Yep, Clemson goes down to Notre Dame. Alabama loses to LSU. Ohio State didn't look overly impressive against Northwestern. Now the winds were blowing about 85 miles an hour in that game as well. But it was a pretty good day for Tennessee outside of their own result as it relates to the college football playoff picture. We'll get more into that coming up a little bit later in the show. Also break down more of Tennessee versus Georgia a little bit later in the show as well. Joe, the Titans last night, they fall 20-17 to the Chiefs. For the most part, I thought did a really good job at corralling that Kansas City offense. You talk about a defense that just played their guts out last night for the Titans, made some big plays in the game. For a long stretch of the game, Kansas City really couldn't get anything going offensively outside of the first couple of drives. And then Patrick Mahomes gets loose on a 3rd and 17. And, Joe, it just kind of felt like the game changed a little bit after that scramble by Mahomes. He then scrambles for a touchdown later. They get the 2-point conversion. The game goes to overtime, and the Titans lose 20-17 last night. There's a lot to get into in this game, but I guess we'll just start, Joe, with your impressions of the Titans on the road last night and the defensive performance that they had against Patrick Mahomes in that offense.
Yeah, it was really impressive. I mean, really impressive. And man, they just frustrate the heck out of that team, basically Mahomes, it very much reminded me, it wasn't quite the same thing, but that 20-yard run on 3rd down reminded me of the run he had late in the first half of the AFC Championship game when, Titans were flailing all over the place and, trying to like strip the ball out and instead of just tackling him. And that was the play of that game that changed that game and put the Chiefs instead of the Titans in the Super Bowl. And that play last night by him, somewhat reminiscent of it. He's just like Chris Collinsworth, who had some very weird analysis, by the way. But he was right on the rush lanes, like if you don't keep the integrity and basically keep him inside there, well, you can be in huge trouble, either with him making a play like that or rolling right and, oh my gosh, he found someone 50 yards downfield, which he also did that in overtime. So it's a tough loss, but boy, the Titans defense is legit. I think the biggest problem with that is now Bud Dupree hip again comes up. And I'm
about done with that guy.
Well, that's the thing. If he's not going to be, if that's what it's going to be, then there's limitations, I think that some of those other guys got after it for sure. And Autry was amazing again, but that's my only hesitation was saying like this is like a championship defense is one of its really important players can't stay healthy. But the secondary was really good. And then you think about, Hooker not being part of it. This defense, David Long just flying around, man. Guy is a heck of a football player. So the defense deserved better. They absolutely deserve better. They deserve to win.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Jaden from Hendersonville, whom I saw yesterday. Good to see you yesterday, Jaden. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Robbie, nice to see you as well. I thought I'd call in and I have 4 quick points that I just want to touch on real quick about the game last night, and I'll try and make it quick. But first thing I wanted to start on was, when is enough going to be enough on the O-line at left tackle and left guard? Mainly more left tackle with Daly, but it was atrocious last night. Malik couldn't find any space, and like I said, it was atrocious. My second point, what really hurt the Titans late in that game, late in the fourth quarter and overtime, is just Malik's inexperience. we knew it coming in, but I honestly didn't expect it to be that bad. My third point, defense 100% deserves better from the offense, in my opinion. They outright played their butts off last night, and the offense couldn't show for it. And my fourth point is this AJ trade is really starting to hurt the Titans, and I think it's been hurting the Titans because they just do not have receivers that can get open. For example, Cody Hollister blocking on a pass play on the last play of the game. But like I said, Rob, nice to see you yesterday. Hope you all have a great day. I'll leave it there.
Thanks for the call, Jaden. Appreciate you. I mean, A.J. Brown was having fun watching the Titans last night, according to his Twitter. Looked like he was really enjoying himself watching that Titans receiving core last night. He continues to press send on the Twitter.
Let it go. Let it go.
He did sort of apologize.
Yeah. I'm sure it was fully sincere. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We're off and running on the Titans and the Vols. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans coming up next. Get into the performance of this defense and take a look at what this game means for the Titans as they move forward here as well. All your thoughts all show long. Phone and text line 615-737-1025. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is here. Get a bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, plus a small seasoned potatoes. That's a better breakfast for just $3 in 3 easy steps. 1, wake up. 2, get out of bed. And 3, head to Wendy's for your $3 breakfast deal. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hour. Select a request $3 breakfast deal in order to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combos orders. Price and participation may vary in Alaska and Hawaii.
Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my. The college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
In our team, defensively, I mean, we fought to the end, we made them kick a field goal in overtime, but, I mean, sometimes, like Coach Drave said, you fight and sometimes you don't get the end result. They end up winning the game, but, proud of the team, man. We fought to the end, and, that's why I enjoy and love coming into the building and enjoy taking the field with these guys, because at the end of the day, we're going to fight to the end.
That was Jeffrey Simmons last night after the 20-17 loss for the Titans against Kansas City. Titans dropped to 5-3 on the season. Still in pretty good shape in the AFC South. Joe, a gutsy effort last night by the defense. Kansas City ran 91 offensive plays last night. 91 offensive plays. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 68 times in the game. So you look at his numbers and you're like, wow, Patrick Mahomes lit up the Titans defense. He threw for 446 yards. That was not how that game went last night. I mean, he threw the ball 68 times, and when you throw the ball for 446 yards and your average is 6.6 a catch, that's it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's astounding. I mean, it's just the numbers are incredible, and first of all, again, they got 20 points. They needed an incredible couple of runs, especially one by him, to get to double figures at the end of regulation. Okay. I mean, and they had the ball the entire game because the Titans offense, after the explosive stuff early that gave them the lead, just had nothing at all. So, that was I mean, look, even watching like Jeffrey Simmons, who was doubled all night, held quite a bit, and was just running all over I mean, that guy, it was exhausting to watch him on some plays because it's like, holy cow, that guy has been out there all night. In fact, I haven't seen the snap counts, but it seems like he was out there for the most part all night and just running all over the field.
Well, he could barely get off the field the last overtime possession. Like, he could barely get off the field. Yeah,
like, just holy cow. There's, give him another week off before the next game, but it's this is one of those games where, first of all, obviously, the defense was tremendous. I mean, there's no other way about it. The offense again just disappears in the second half. It's not even the offense, obviously, because Malik Willis was quarterbacking it, and it ended so poorly for him, and it was like, oh man, you can't do that. The back-to-back sacks. He also deserved better from his receivers.
He did.
Game. He and Mike Vrabel said as much after the game. I mean, look, they basically simplified this to throwing outside the numbers, some fades where there's no safety involvement, there's no safety read needed. Throw the fade, and we saw that in camp. He, along with having a big arm, he does have some really nice touch sometimes on those throws. And completed a couple. They had some nice plays to Austin Hooper, but Chris Conley and Nick Westbrook-Akine in particular, they have to come down with those passes, and you get zero catches from your wide receivers in a game, just in the NFL.
Cannot happen. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Corey from Springfield. Corey, thanks for calling in.
Hey, thanks, fellas. I just wanted to touch on something last night. Second to last possession in the fourth quarter for the Titans. We're still in the game. We still very much so have a chance to win it. And yet again, our offensive coordinator puts Malik Willis in a bad situation, and it comes down to play calling. We run the ball on first down. We get 2 yards, which is fairly typical for us on first down if you're doing your trend analysis throughout the season. But the clock management at the time was so critical, but yet we choose to throw the ball 2 more times after that. 1, we're giving the Chiefs more time on the clock. 2, we need to keep their defense on the field to wear them out. We are a running team. okay, it's also quite apparent that our O-line, they can run block, but they are not spectacular at pass blocking. I think that Malik Willis is going to be a good quarterback for us in the future. I think that the OC toward the end of the game put him in a couple bad situations, but we need to run the ball. We could have taken that game last night if we had kept the ball on the ground.
Hey, thanks for the call.
I got.
Thanks for the call, Corey. I mean, I will say there were some times in the second half, Joe, and I realize, you're trying to be less predictable than you were against the Texans of just turn around and handing it off every play. So I realize that. There were some times in the second half yesterday where I was like, where's Derrick Henry? I mean, the guy's averaging 7 yards a carry, and it felt like he barely got the ball in the second half yesterday.
Yeah, well, I think the one in particular, because, the 7 yards a carry, he had a 56-yarder. So it wasn't consistent. But you get the ball at the 50, you're up 17-9. Henry going left for 4. Henry goes right for 7. Really nice run.
Yep.
Now you're at their 39. Okay, Henry gets a yard. I mean, look, you're 2nd and 9 at the 38. At that point, I mean, look, it's not like you feel great about Randy Bullock from 50, but you could get a 50-yarder from Randy Bullock. You have 5 more yards. You get 3 or 4, and it's worth possibly trying it, right? And the thing is, that next play was a play I just referenced. I mean, it was there. It was a perfect pass. It was the element of surprise. Snead gets some credit also for coverage. He was close, but you want Westbrook Keenan to come down with that. Okay, he doesn't. So 3rd and 9 from the 38. 3rd and 9 from the 38. I mean, the play they called, was a little screen to Hilliard, which has worked. It was just totally diagnosed by Bolton. He just completely blew it up. But that sequence right there, you could make the case, you know what? Tackle him 2 more times in a row. Tackle him 2 more times in a row. If you're thinking about this and you're the Titans, you're like, you know what? I think we can get 5 more yards on 2 more handoffs to Derrick Henry, and then you get a field goal there to make it 20-9. That might be it. I mean, who knows? We know what happened on the next possession, but it also does 20-9 make it different. I don't know, but that time for sure. The second play in overtime was actually, like, if you watch the play, it was a receiver screen to Swaim, and it was there. And I don't know why Willis reacted the way he did, but, I mean, at that point, on that play, like, if you just stand in there, take the hit, and just flip it to him, like, I think it's a first down easily, and it might even be, I mean, it's Swaim, so it's not like he's covering – he's not like Chigakonkwo, who, by the way, you see what they have with him early in the first play of the game. But he gets first down, and then who knows from there. So that play, that's just on Willis, I do agree, though, just in general, Derrick Henry should have more carries than he did. He only had, they have 40.
They had 48 offensive plays, and he had 17 carries. It's got to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, now, granted, look, that ratio is – if you have a normal game, you're in the 60s, and so he's about in the 20s, about a third of your plays. That's what it should be, but still, in this game, it should be more than that. And I don't know why, beyond just give it to Derrick Henry, because look, yes, he averaged 6.8 on the night. Take the 2 big ones out, he averaged about 2 a carry. Okay, I mean the Chiefs did a good job on most of his carries after those 2 big ones early. But that said, I think the read option stuff using Willis early, I'm like, I don't know why they got away from that. Show them that, make them think about that, and that's what he can do for you. I mean, he had 8 carries for 40 yards. I thought we'd see more of that last week. That's where I'm a little confused. Like, just the ground in general, whatever you do. They got Hilliard a few carries. They got him 3 carries, and they were decent. Like, that's what you have to do.
I hear you on the – the 2 big runs. Other than that, they stopped him a little bit. But the 2 big runs are why you keep giving him the ball, because he can pop that off at any moment. At any moment, he can pop that off.
Sure.
And I don't know. It felt like he was barely getting the ball in the second half. And to your point from earlier, like, look, Willis is making decisions right now that I think you expect from Malik Willis, where he's at in his development. I mean, like you said, the Swain play was there. I thought there were times where he held on to the ball way too long last night as well. But also, like, when plays are there to be made, you need your wide receiver to come down with the ball. Like, you could not throw the football any better than Malik Willis threw the ball to Chris Conley on that play.
No.
You could not throw the
Fantastic
football any better than the play that he threw the ball to Nick Westbrook-Akina. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, whoever quarterback you want to throw out there. You couldn't throw it better than Malik Willis threw it on those two plays. And it hit your receivers in the hands. They need to come down with it. And, I mean, you could tell Vrabel in the postgame press conference last night was pretty upset by that. Like, catch the ball. And the state of this Titans receiving core right now is just, it is atrocious. And they need Treylon Burks back in a big way. And I don't know what Treylon Burks is going to be able to bring to the table, but my goodness, they have used him last night.
Yeah, look, it's all there is now. It's Treylon Burks. He can come off IR, and we'll see if he's ready to do that. They need him right away. I mean, Denver's not good, but they still, like, this offense, as good as this defense was last night and looks overall, this offense is also can keep any other team in a game with the Titans too, right? And here's the rare example of a close game in which the Titans lose. No, it's a bad situation. On the Henry thing, no, you're right. Look, ultimately he's your best player. He's got to get the ball more than that. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't consistent. The Chiefs were loaded up to stop him. I still would rather go down giving him the ball than anything else, right? Especially with no chance of passing the ball. Another thing with him, and Rich Eisen tweeted this during the game, and we've talked about this, but so Derrick Henry gets 28 snaps, 58% of the snaps. Those third and mediums, I just feel like having him on the field is still worthwhile, Third and 9, third and 11, where a Hilliard is a better route runner, pass catcher, and might be able to actually get that for you. Okay. I mean, I get that, but third and medium, keep Derrick Henry in the field. Well,
there was a 3rd and 4 they had the ball last night where he was not on the field for, and to me that can't happen. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts on the Titans and the Chiefs coming up next. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Phil Forsberg. And this is Smashville.
Forsberg a shot, broken up in front, give it back to Forsberg, and here come the Habs.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get 0 interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Calling all sweet tooths, head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural kosher certified ingredients. Sweet creamery, butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you are buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680. 680 or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. See better and stay safe on the road with our visibility event. Right now, you can earn up to $20 in bonus rewards when you buy a pair of Rain-X Quantum Wiper Blades and Sylvania Silverstar Ultra headlights. Take advantage of the rewards from October 31st until November 13th, in-store or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
Want to be a fly on the wall at Nat Geo's headquarters? Well, with the Overheard podcast, you can. From smuggled dinosaur bones to man-made glaciers, each episode takes a dive into the curious conversations that occur behind the scenes at National Geographic. Overheard is presented by Geico. Millions of ESPN sports fans count on Geico for reliable car insurance and low, low rates. Visit geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
What do you think of the whole multiple two-point scenario situation?
What did I think? I thought that, there were some penalties, and then, he extended the play and then was able to score, So wherever they keep putting the ball, I've told our defense, and Shane and the coaches have all told them, wherever they put the ball down, we have to play defense, whether that's on the one, that's a 4th and a half a yard or whatever it may be. So, we'll keep fighting. And we'll get back to work. And that's what I love. I love the resiliency. I love our players. And we've asked them to, try to upgrade our standards and how we prepare. We've asked them to understand that they got a power to choose how we respond. And, that'll give us a good opportunity to do that this week.
That was Mike Vrabel after the game last night. A 20-17 loss for the Titans against the Kansas City Chiefs. We are taking your reaction all show long. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Dave from Old Hickory. Dave, thanks for calling in.
Good morning, fellas. Hey, if you guys remember, I called in a couple of weeks ago complaining about the entertainment level of this team.
Yep.
I want to say that last night I was thoroughly impressed. I thought that they played much better. I mean, defensively was just, you can't say more about those guys than what they were able to do against Patrick Mahomes and that explosive offense. They made their plays, which they're going to make because those guys are superstars, but we held our own there. I will say that I was talking to some guys last night who were former players, and they were saying that we weren't in a position quarterback-wise to win that game because Malik had been charged with not losing the game. He'd been held so much in check that he was never able to get comfortable early on. There was no slants. There were no things that would get him comfortable in the passing game. And then when it was time, when he had to do it, he just wasn't able to. So I think that's part of the reason why we're coming away with an L. But other than that, the performance was very strong. I want to say this, though, and if you guys could talk about it a little bit. The officiating this year, not just in last night's game, but throughout. I mean, it's not bad per se. The calls aren't wrong per se, but it's overwhelming the play. I mean, it's absolutely taken away from the game because we all know that you can blow the whistle every single snap of the ball. You really can. I mean, there's something there everywhere, and it's part of football. I mean, some of the plays, I saw commentators several times yesterday watching what they were saying that, they go back and look and they're like, oh, they're calling that. And, they can't speak out against the NFL, but even they're like, this call is so ticky-tack, it's so whatever, and it really is taken away from the game and it's changing the flow of the game. So I want to know what you guys think about that.
Hey, thanks for the call, Dave. I mean, look, Joe, I was pretty vocal about it on Twitter last night. I mean, I thought the officiating was atrocious in that game. And, we can talk about the Travis Kelce play where he's ripping off Josh Kalu's helmet in the end zone, and Josh Kalu's the one gets called for a penalty there. The thing that bothered me about the officiating, and obviously there was some bad calls there. Titans fans are mad about the Cody Hollister blocking the back call as well. Like, those type of things are going to happen. That doesn't upset me as much as, like, you're sitting there calling holding on Aaron Brewer on a Derrick Henry run that just totally derails a drive there. And I turn around and I look, and Jeffrey Simmons is getting held. I'm not exaggerating. Almost every play, Jeffrey Simmons is getting held last night on the I think it was the play before Kansas City scored a touchdown. Tierre Tart is running after Patrick Mahomes, and there are two guys grabbing him by the waist. Nothing called last night. Those are the things that drive me nuts. You're going to have bad calls, and you're going to have missed calls as an official when it starts to relate to the Travis Kelce stuff, even though that's ridiculous to me. But when you're calling holding, call holding. There's holding all the time last night, and that drove me nuts.
Yeah, look, I agree that the Tart hold was pretty blatant. There was one earlier in the game because, look, Simmons, offensive linemen are finding any way they can to hold him, and this is what happens to great players. There was one where Trey Smith got a lot of jersey. I'm like, how do you miss that one? I do the Kalu thing. Kalu did hold before the whole thing with the helmet. I mean, Kalu tackled him, so I don't know why people are freaking out about that one.
Well, then call both.
You could do that. Yeah, you could offset it. Replay. So it's replay, and it's not a yard and a half closer. But yeah, no, they got the Hollister one was weird too. I mean, I guess he sort of like put his kind of pushed the guy a little bit. But no, look, Vrabel, when he goes through that one, I'm sure is going to have some choice words, and I'm sure there'll be a colorfully worded email to somebody as well out of this.
He did throw out the NFL officiating Twitter handle last night in his post-game press conference.
He loves to do that. He loves doing that. Yeah, look, like you said, I mean, it's part of the deal. I do think that the bigger picture out of all that is Simmons. Like, if I'm the Titans, that's where I'm focusing. Like, guys, look at this, because they can probably, once they go through it, they could probably find 5 or 6 great examples of like if you call holding in an NFL game, and there's never a call on Jeffrey Simmons being held, then
what are we doing?
How does that happen? Yeah, how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have plenty of examples to choose from if you're the Titans and you want to clip something up and send it into the NFL, or who knows, maybe you want to tweet them at NFL officiating, as Mike Vrabel threw out there last night. Could be something that you do as well. Like, as far as the offensive part of this thing, Dave called in and I thought actually at the beginning of the game, Joe, I thought the Titans did a pretty good job of getting him involved and getting him comfortable. I mean, there's the first play to Okonkwo, which is just a great play by him to break through and get the 48-yarder there. But I thought even in the read option game, they did have some quick, kind of quick hitter passing looks. Austin Hooper got involved pretty early in the game as well. By the way, a great back shoulder throw from Malik Willis to Austin Hooper down by the goal line for I think the first Derrick Henry touchdown as well. So I thought they did a decent job in the first part of the game and trying to get him comfortable and get him in there. But the bottom line, Joe, at the end of the day is like Malik Willis is just not ready to be a starting NFL quarterback at the moment. And the more the time that goes on and the game wore on last night, I think the more evident that became. Now, that's also why it's that important where when plays are there and are available to you, you got to make them. And the Titans wide receivers didn't make them last night. And I know we're talking about Nick Westbrook-Akine and Chris Conley, so I understand the expectations are not overly high from those two guys. But when your margin for error is that thin in the passing game, when your quarterback does make plays, you got to come down with the ball, and they couldn't do it last night.
Yeah, and Dave earlier on the call talking about get him involved in some slants and stuff. They're not using the middle of the field. They're not saying, Malik, read this coverage, read this blitz, call a new protection, and use the middle of the field. Again, it's going to be screens. It's going to be running the ball, or I think it was the right. Like basically, they know he throws that fade well. Again, if you're going to throw the fade outside the numbers, you don't worry about safety involvement. You don't worry about what coverage they're in. It's going to be man on the outside. If that's the route, then it's man. Whatever zone they're in, it's match coverage. It's man. So throw it up. Then you don't have to worry about the safeties or reading anything. And he threw some beautiful passes in that context. Nothing else was going to be involved. Nothing else will be involved. This is why the Titans are going to have a hard time winning many games, until they're going to have a hard time getting much offense going until Tannehill comes back. And as we know, there's still offensive struggles with Tannehill, but at least now you have the playbook and you can try to have some semblance of balance whenever he comes back. So that's just the reality of the situation.
Oh, there's speaking of Tannehill, there's one part about him and a wording that was thrown out there last night that has me pretty concerned if I'm a Titans fan. We'll get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Searching, ordering, tracking. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Dear online threats, after all the time we spent together, I'm finally ready to say goodbye. I have to admit, I was careless. At first, I thought maybe you were not so bad. Then, after you moved into my software, I believed I was too weak to stop you. I was wrong. I can do better. So you know what? I have NordVPN now. See you? Never.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your device from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
It's Pro Time, which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, earn 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points offer valid 10/27 through 12/8. Calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms.
Chase McCade.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mase. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ryan, have any realistic trades coming in? Or?
He was listed as questionable. Ryan didn't play in the game. There's so many guys, Paul, that bust their ass out there tonight that I would be more than happy to talk about. So if we could ask about the players that actually played in the game, that'd be a great place to start.
A little bit of a spicy Vrabel after the game last night. The Titans fall 20-17 to the Kansas City Chiefs. No Ryan Tannehill in the game last night for the Titans. Malik Willis getting the start at quarterback. You are listening to Robbie and Rexwood. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game studio on this Monday morning. So, Joe, we know it's an ankle sprain for Ryan Tannehill, thanks to your capital J journalism work a couple of weeks ago for getting to the bottom of that. The question has been, how severe is the ankle sprain? What type of an ankle sprain is Ryan Tannehill dealing with? And Schefter put this tweet out yesterday morning. Said, quote, Titans have closely guarded their quarterback plans for Sunday night and are hoping not to reveal them until pregame warm-ups. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill is listed as questionable due to an ankle injury and was spotted in a walking boot over a week ago with a possible high ankle sprain. So I don't know if that's really anything telling us definitive from Schefter that we didn't already know. But the point is, Joe, he's now missed 2 games in a row. And honestly, from the videos that TD and Koharski and Buck and all the people that put out there last night, it didn't really look to me like he was ever really that close to playing last night. I mean, he went out there and warmed up, but he never really moved around. He was just kind of throwing stationary. So how concerned are you right now with Ryan Tannehill's injury that maybe this is going on for another couple of weeks and they could be without him for the next couple of games as well?
Yep, absolutely. You nailed it. By the way, so I can defend my buddy PK, like if no one last night in the postgame presser asked about Ryan Tannehill, then they should all be fired. I mean, come on. Like, you're not going to ask about Ryan Tannehill. I understand Vrabel's emotional, spicy Vrabel, especially after a loss, but yeah. As far as your point, yeah, I think there's a pretty decent chance here that there's no Tannehill for Denver and there's no Tannehill in Lambeau, and then maybe you have that extra time. If you look at the timeline of a high ankle sprain, 4 to 6 weeks is typical. Again, you can try to do the what the heck is that surgery called?
Tightrope.
I always forget. Yes. So Cedric Tillman did tightrope surgery, and still he wasn't back for how many weeks? 4 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. I mean, he missed.
I think it's 5.
5 games. Okay. Yeah. So even with the surgery to try to accelerate the healing process, and you're also, by the way, talking about a much younger person than Ryan Tannehill. That's what happened. So yeah, I think you're dead on. I think at this point, look, I don't know that. I guess you could also look at it like, was this purely window dressing for the Chiefs that Tannehill comes out to the field, travels with the team? I mean, I think if there was no chance, they knew there was no chance for Houston, so why even travel him? I think if there was 0 chance, it would have. I think it's weird to travel him.
Agreed.
He did go to the field. He did try to walk around, but yeah, like you said, some of those guys got video. The broadcast got a lot of, NBC got a lot of video of it. Very little movement from him. Very, very little movement from him out there. No running, no jogging. So to me, that kind of tells you where he is. Possibly not close here to returning. So I think at this point, I would call it more likely than not that it's Malik Willis for a 3rd straight week against the Broncos.
Well, and obviously that's very concerning if you're the Titans as you move forward here. We've already got a couple of texts this morning talking about Jared and saying that the Titans not going to get a backup quarterback was the reason they lost the game last night. But I will say, like, if you're the Titans, you've obviously had more information than we've had on this. Like, if you were concerned about Tannehill missing significant time, do you think that they maybe should have taken a look at a backup quarterback before the NFL trading deadline last week? I don't know. I mean, doesn't matter now. Hindsight's 2020, and it's going to be Malik Willis moving forward if it's not Ryan Tannehill. But I will say, watching him warm up last night and how limited it seemed like he was with the videos that were coming out, that was pretty concerning to me. Like I saw a guy last night that you got a game coming up on Sunday against Denver, and then a very short turnaround after that on Thursday in Lambeau. I think it's a very real possibility that they're without him the next two games. And look, I realize the next two games are nowhere near as daunting as they were when the schedule came out. I don't think Denver's very good, and I know the Packers aren't good. So it's one of those things that maybe you could get by just with this defense alone, with the way, especially if they play the way they played last night. But not having Ryan Tannehill in there is not a good thing for this offense. I think we've learned that through two games.
Yeah, no doubt. On the backup quarterback front, first of all, we don't know that they didn't look. Who would have been?
I mean, Jared keeps throwing out trading for Sean Mannion.
Sean Mannion, yeah. I think the more arguable point there is, and by the way, speaking of Jared, a whole bunch of people sent me the what Steve McNair would have played. Well,
yeah.
How stupid can you be to send a tweet like that? Seriously. Can I just do a mini rant for about 30 seconds? How stupid can you be?
If Steve McNair had a high ankle sprain, probably wouldn't play. Just my guess.
Did he not miss games in his career?
He did.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, I think the more arguable point, and I made it before the game, and I don't, I actually don't feel as strongly about it now. I felt a lot stronger about it after watching. Now, again, just some of the throws Willis made on those fades, and just the run element that you got to tap into that they did in the first half and they went away from for the most part.
Yeah.
That still might give you a better chance than Woodside. I mean, again, I'm not saying Woodside's good, but I thought going into the game, like, you've got to be able to do something in the middle of the field and get the ball out quickly, and just a short passing game that you have a better chance of having with Woodside than Willis. But then there's other things that Willis can do that Woodside can't. So there's not a great choice there. And it's easy. Yeah, we can hindsight 2020 on getting a backup quarterback. I'll go through again. Let's go through the list of NFL teams and how many of them are happy with their backup quarterback and feel like their backup quarterback could win a football game for them. There's about probably 5 to 7 teams.
Agreed. And I will say, like, the receiving part of it continues to be one that just boggles my mind. Like, I understand Malik Willis completed 5 passes last night, so it's not like we're talking about, some gigantic opportunity for these receivers. But, I mean, if they're not going to make plays, I think it's pretty obvious at this point they're not going to make plays in this offense, at least the group that's out there currently. Maybe that changes with Burks coming back. Like, you get the ball to Okonkwo on the first play of the game, and he looks like the Incredible Hulk out there running through the entire Chiefs defense. They tried to get it to him again a couple of times on actual passing routes, but we've talked about this with TD, and TD's been very consistent on it. Like, find ways to get that guy the ball. Like, that first play of the game last night was a pretty good example of why it's important to get that guy the ball, because you get it in his hands, he's got a chance to do something with it after.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he didn't play a lot, and that's the thing. It's, it was Kelsey and not Kelsey. Titans wish it was Kelsey. It was it was Hooper and Swain got a lot more snaps than him, but I agree. He is a weapon. Find a way to get him the ball. I mean, Malik Willis is a weapon running the ball. Find a way to use that if he's going to be on the field, things like that. I liked this. This has kind of been a theme. It's a first half. There's a lot of stuff I liked out of the Titans from Downing. Like, I liked the creativity. And then in the second half, I really didn't. Ultimately, like, you kind of have to default more to just, okay, 22, bail us out, run over somebody, And I just don't think they did that enough. But look, I mean, this, if it's going to be this, someone's asking the text line about Burks. That's one thing. get him back, receiver screens, something. Like you've gotta have some kind of presence and production from an entire receiving core to win an NFL game. Again, you could look at this like Jared from Dixon, who's like, can we all agree we have a good team? And a healthy Tannehill last night's probably a W. Yeah, I mean, you could look at this game and say this team could be pretty freaking good, but it's also like the deficiencies right now are just glaring.
Well, and they flashed this graphic up last night on the broadcast on Sunday Night Football. The Titans have 9 points in the fourth quarter of the entire season. 9. And there are a ton of reasons that go into that. I realize that. They have obvious deficiencies with their personnel. The last couple of games, they've had obvious deficiencies at quarterback with Malik Willis in there. But at some point, like you're looking at Todd Downing like, come on, man. 9 points in the fourth quarter the whole year. It's got to be better than that. And it's your job as an offensive coordinator to figure that out. And he's failing. I mean, he's failing in the second half. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, it's had some heated arguments already this year with some people who I think there's some people who are so out on him it doesn't matter what happens. You want to pin the blame on him. There's roster deficiencies here. It's almost like right now it's like some people are like, let's put it all on J-Rob. AJ gets traded, no left tackle, all this stuff, or put it all on Downing. I mean, I think it's a blend, but I don't think you can just take responsibility away from Downing for the overall trend of just bad second half offense. There's a consistent just downturn in offensive production and execution that you have to look at him for some of it.
So what did this game tell us about where the Titans fit into the picture in the AFC? We'll get to more of that coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute, disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Two icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
Attention Preds fans, this is Jeremy, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street in downtown Smashville. Come check out the most awarded cigar and bourbon lounge in the country and watch our Golden Blue Preds make another Stanley Cup playoff run. Take a picture with me, post to our Blend Facebook and Instagram, and be entered to win a special Davidoff package. Experience luxury at its finest with the best spirits and cigars in the industry. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Time beautifully filled.
People of all ages can experience spine pain. What hurts the most is what it does to your life, making simple activities feel like an uphill battle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics and their team of specialists aim to get you back to your active and enjoyable life. Let Houston Clinic Orthopedics bring lasting relief if you're suffering from any of the following: spinal stenosis, herniated discs, sciatica, degenerative disc disease, and more. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3. Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushes. Awesome game set.
Checkered flag in the air.
The game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rexroad. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robbie and Rexroad, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We are talking Titans and their loss last night in Arrowhead to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get into Tennessee and Georgia coming up later this hour at 7:30. Corey Curtis joining the program at 8 o'clock to talk all things Tennessee Titans. And at 9 o'clock, we'll be joined by Max Hers, live from the West Coast, to give us an update on the Predators, who have won 2 games in a row as well. So all that coming up here on the program. Joe, I was thinking about this morning coming into the game. What did that game last night show us about the Titans, where exactly they fit in the AFC picture right now, and kind of what this means for them moving forward? I mean, look, it's an overtime loss to the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Arrowhead, where for the large majority of that game, it felt like you had a pretty good shot to win last night, even despite the limitations that you had offensively. Joe, I guess the one thing that really stands out to me is I think I've seen enough from this Titans defense in the last few weeks to convince me that they're good enough to keep you in the game with anybody. And I include the Buffalo Bills in that discussion. I know they got absolutely torched by Buffalo earlier this year. Number one, I think they've figured some things out since then defensively. I think they're in a much better spot defensively than they were then. And they're doing it without, Hooker wasn't in there last night. Dupree leaves in the middle of the game last night. Elijah Molden still hasn't come back from injury yet. The defense, I think, is already an elite defense in this league, and they still have guys that could come back and make it better. So that's the thing, I guess, that I take away more than anything. The Titans' defense is legit. I think it has a chance to be every bit as good as we thought it could be heading into the season. I still wonder what it would look like if Harold Landry was healthy and Bud Dupree was healthy the whole time and exactly what that would mean. But, I mean, this Titans defense, again, you can look at the box score if you want to last night and say, well, what are you talking about? They gave up 450 yards passing to Patrick Mahomes. Again, he threw the ball 68 times last night. This Titans defense is good. This Titans defense is legit. And I think this Titans defense is good enough, even with the limitations of this offense, to keep them in every game they play as they move forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they're finding, of course, Tier Tart is one of the guys who it was a good find a couple years ago, and then he builds up to what he is now. But, DeMarcus Walker has been quite a find. Strong has been a find. Mario Edwards last night is making plays. So they're also, they're finding some people to come in and help out. I do, last night, early on, I thought Zach Cunningham looked good too, and then he's out of the game again. Yep. So there's another, thing that hasn't been as hoped, but Long is so good. Byard, Fulton is one heck of a football player. Christian Fulton's becoming just a really good corner in this league, as we've talked about. But you saw it again last night. He had one bad missed tackle on Kelsey, but for the most part, man, that guy is, even the one long completion he gave up, I mean, you can't really cover it better than he did. It's just one of those Mahomes plays. But I agree. They should, and I agree that if they played the Bills now, it'd probably go differently. That game also blew up. You botch a punt and a bunch of stuff just just goes off the rails for you. This defense can keep them in any game. In any game, I think in January, as long as they don't have disastrous more injuries, it's trending that way. And again, the offense can keep them from extending a lead on anyone too. You know, it's the kind of games that they're going to have to be in. But you gotta like what you saw from that defense last night. You're right. It's funny because like now that like their past D rankings will be like horrible from this game, and yet they were really good.
Well, and you had Bud Dupree gets hurt, the hips flaring up again last night, so he leaves in the middle of the game. But you got Danico Autry, 2 more sacks last night. You know, he was a force out there. And then you got guys like Mario Edwards and DeMarcus Walker making plays for the Titans last night too. Now, I will say, and I think Corey Curtis pointed this out too, you know, the Titans did a pretty good job of hemming Patrick Mahomes kind of in there and keeping him in the pocket. And then Bud Dupree leaves the game last night, and all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes is getting loose. So are those two things related? Does it correlated? I don't know, but it happened in the second half for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But you just got guys like, Mario Edwards had a sack last night, had a couple of quarterback pressures. DeMarcus Walker gets the sack last night. And some of those sacks, as Collinsworth pointed out, the Titans were just so good in coverage that Mahomes was standing in the pocket for 4.5 seconds. And when you do that, you're probably going to get sacked.
Yeah, like they had a good plan. They executed extremely well, and I wasn't sure, with no hooker. Kalu's out there, Lonnie Johnson's out there. They again, it's one of those. Of course, Adams is out there. It's one of those, and he had some ups and downs. Mitchell's out there at times, and they went through the roster, but with everyone but Farley. Though Chris Collinsworth told us that, Caleb Farley gets healthy, watch out for this secondary. In his defense, a lot of these things are based on conversations with people. Okay, like the network meeting. So I'm assuming someone was like, well, then there's Caleb Farley. Don't forget him. But no,
I think I about spit up my drink last night when he said that.
Well, he also said, that there's no impact on the game with no Tannehill.
Yeah, no difference.
Titans are a running team, so they don't need to complete forward passes or anything like that. Oh boy, but no, look, the defense is really good, and I think it's just like the Dupree thing that's the only hesitation I have is like if that's not gonna, and that's hard for me to imagine. At some point, it's just no more worries about him, no more on the injury report, he's all fine. Yeah, that's the problem because there is a difference. I don't know if he keeps him in there on some of those plays, but he might get to him faster. He might get him down to the ground before he even has a chance to break the pocket. When he's out there, I thought even in run support early last night, Dupree was physical, man. He is a really good football player. So if that's just going to be a thing, and it's hard to imagine it won't be now, that's going to be a limitation.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in LD from McMinnville. LD, thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Normally I save my takes for the text line, but I had to call in. This question is basically for Joe. Of course, Robbie, you can chime in, of course. But is there some form of disconnect between the offensive side, so the staff and the players for the Titans, and reality? Because in the past few weeks, I've heard the OC say, oh, this play or that play was blocked up perfectly. You guys come back and say, we see this. Same as the fans, we see the same thing, right? I don't know what they're looking at. Then I'm a little disappointed in NWI last night to a question, I think, from Paul about how they played, 0 receptions, whatever it was. And NWI seemed like he was confused and shocked that he would ask that and thinking that, well, you guys didn't say that in the past when we were making plays. I don't know what plays they were making. I understand 4, 5, 6 receptions for the year, but good Lord. Something has to give here, and that was my only comment. I wanted to get it off my chest. I appreciate it, guys. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for the call, LD. I did see that from Westbrook-Akine last night. To LD's point, it kind of seemed like, what are you talking about? We've been Didn't hear you guys talking about receiving production before. And I was like, yeah, we have, buddy. It's been bad all year. I don't know what that was about.
If we hadn't scared off NWI, he'd be listening to our show and realize that actually, no, we have been talking about that all year.
There's that.
Well, as far as the question, LD on disconnect, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's, first of all, even like that comment from NWI, I mean, look, in the wake of a loss, a lot of times you're going to get stuff like that. And yeah, look, like the Downing in particular, the one Downing play, the Malik Willis handoff, that's a fumble. Like I don't, if that was blocked well, then I don't understand basic physics, which is possible, by the way. I'm open to that possibility.
Yeah, you're an English guy, Joe. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Right. A lot more art than science.
Well, I'm sure Cody Hollister down the field was blocking well on that play.
Well, so the thing is, like, so on that point, again, the second down in overtime, which was a screen. I know some people I've seen on Twitter, some people forget, like, oh my God, these receivers are so bad, they're blocking on a pass play. It's like, actually, they were supposed to block on that play, but there was a pass to Hollister, right, where it looked like he was blocking.
Yeah, he's blocking 35 yards down the field.
He's throw the fade to Hollister, and it's like
never turned back for the ball, and he was blocking, which they didn't throw a flag on either, which is amazing.
Yeah. So there's a disconnect right there. I like the whole thing. The offensive side of the ball is a mess, except run blocking and Derrick Henry. Other than that, basically, it's a mess. It gets better when Tannehill comes back, but then we haven't really talked about it again. Like pass blocking, it's just not going to be great. I mean, Daly, I thought like he didn't have as glaring issues later in the game as he did early, but there's still just a few plays a game where it's like it's just Olay and you're right at the QB, and it's gonna. I mean, I don't see how that changes all year.
Indy Ben on the text line says Kansas City doesn't seem to play their game when going up against the Titans. Part of that is Tennessee being a bad matchup for them, and the other is Andy Reid not devising a good game plan against their defense. Why Kansas City kept running their wide receivers on deep patterns when Mahomes clearly didn't have the time is beyond me. Joe, I bring that text up more than anything because the text that Indy Ben sent before was, quote, this was back on October 26th, don't be surprised if a much more mobile and stronger armed Ellinger provides a spark for the Colts offense. I just had to bring that one up. Sorry, Indy Ben.
Sorry, Indy Ben.
Yeah, don't credit Tennessee or anything. It was all the Chiefs' mistakes.
Colts looked good yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. We love Indy Ben. We really do.
Yes. And there's got to be a Bryce Young text coming, right, Indy Ben? I mean, hey, if they keep playing like this, it's possible. Well, what the Chiefs started doing is just getting those little quick hitters to Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot and other people over the middle, because obviously Kelsey was drawing multiple people, and that worked for him. But, yeah, I mean, when he tried to go downfield for the most part, Titans were on that stuff. They had a great plan, and, again, great execution. The guy just every once in a while makes some plays, which is why he's Patrick Mahomes.
We'll get got a lot of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. We'll roll through those coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Do Tennesseans know every word to Rocky Top? Well, the construction industry doesn't call our area rock country for no reason. Harmon Tractor and Equipment is your tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's employee-owned Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. So if you hit rock, need a breaker, and it's time to dig, give them a call. Rent a track loader, an excavator of any size for landscaping, building a pool, construction, utilities, or more. Visit ParmanTractor.com, providing totally outrageous customer service.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.
Those 4 rooms are getting hot tubs.
He needs a staff engineer to navigate a flurry of new requests.
And all of those will be fully ADA accessible.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with Peak Long Life Universal Pre-Mixed Antifreeze and Coolant. Now just $3.99 after mail-in rebate. Limits apply. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Monday morning, taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Dustin from Hopkinsville on the text line says, it tells me the Titans are much better than the Buffalo game. To strap in because the Vrabel resiliency is a real thing. Call me crazy, but I could see us going to the AFC Championship with a healthy defense, Tannehill and Burks. I mean, they know Henry's running, and he still gets 100-plus yards. This from Dustin from Hopkinsville, talking about what he learned about the Tennessee Titans last night against the Kansas City Chiefs. I hear exactly what Dustin's saying there, and I talked last segment, Joe, about the defense being able to keep you in every game, and I believe that that's 100% true. The problem is what you just brought up. The offense also has the ability to keep every other opposing team in the game as well, and that could become an issue for the Titans.
Yeah, that Mike Vrabel record in close games, it's going to get a heck of a test.
It is.
The Titans are going to be in a whole bunch of close games. They can't separate from anyone, but I don't think anybody can separate from them. So, yeah, settle in. If you like 2017, 17-13, 16-12 kind of games, settle in because a whole bunch of them are on the way.
Chuck on the text line says the Chiefs receivers made plays. The Titans have no one that can make plays to help out the quarterback, no matter who is under center. We got a lot of thoughts about the Titans wide receivers on the text line. I mean, really, the one solution right now, Joe, is Treylon Burks is eligible to come off IR this week against Denver. Now, I have no idea whether or not he's actually going to and whether or not he's going to play. We'll find out later this week, but that's kind of the one positive right now for the offense and the passing game is maybe you could find something with Traylon Burks that he can give you with yards after the catch coming back starting on Sunday. Hopefully he's able to come back in there because they need him.
Yeah, absolutely. They need him. They need Kyle Phillips. For whatever you can get out of Kyle Phillips, put him out there. He's Kyle Phillips can give you more than what you're getting right now. Traylon Burks can, and maybe Racing McMath. I mean, it's
in fairness, I think you and I can give him more now. They got 0 catches last night. We can do that.
Yeah, that is true. I can do 0. I can block someone when I'm supposed to be going out for a pass route. No doubt about it. Or shove someone in the back. Again, I think that block in the back on Hollister was pretty ticky-tack. Pretty ticky-tack. But look, it's at least with that, I mean, at least at receiver there is hope in other names, right, who are supposed to be talented key contributors to this team. You know, backup quarterback is one of 2 options that aren't good right now, and offensive line, there's no other option other than throwing someone else out there, which the Titans clearly aren't interested in even trying or looking at, which tells you, I think, something. Or, you know, go around and find some practice squad guy and try him out. I mean, that's to me still the biggest problem is that, you know, Tannehill, and that's the thing too when you think about bringing him back, you better do all you can to protect him when he does come back. Because, you know, unless it's going to be a long time here, there's probably going to be some limitation on his mobility when he returns. And that's not good with this pass blocking.
Joe, in the secondary last night, Byard, Andrew Adams, Christian Fulton, and Roger McCreary all playing every snap last night for the Titans. Every snap defensively for those 4 guys in the secondary. And, you know, it makes sense with Byard, Fulton, and McCreary. I think they may have found something in Andrew Adams here. Like he's not perfect out there, and you know he'll get beat every now and then, but the guy can tackle. The guy is a really good tackler out there.
Yeah, he took a bad angle on the
he
big the big Mahomes run. You know, so he's not perfect. That's what's interesting is we don't know about Molden. When Hooker does come back, you know, are they better off having him in the slot and they feel fine with Adams back there? You know, maybe. I still think at some point we'll see the secondary as intended with Molden at the slot and Hooker and Byard back there, but they know that they have some versatility there. And Adams has been. Look, I thought Josh Kalu was flying around, and they tried a couple different guys to do the quote-unquote Crookshank roll on Kelsey and bump him off the line, and I thought he did some decent stuff. And it's amazing how they can find even just a handful of actually productive snaps out of so many different people on that side of the ball.
Alex from Montreal on the text line says, are we still cool with J-Rob leaving this team without real wideouts? No, we are not. I guess he's referring to
who was cool.
I guess he's referring to trade deadline and not making a move at the deadline. That's how I'm interpreting this.
Yeah. Well, again, you could have gotten a receiver. You really needed to get an offensive lineman. You have other receivers who are hurt. You have no other offensive lineman. But hey, like I said before, trade for both. And throw in a backup quarterback too. Sean Mannion, he would have made all the difference.
Hey, I mean, look, the Bears gave up a second rounder for Chase Claypool yesterday. He had 2 catches for 13 yards. That would have been pretty good production.
He was on a snap count, okay?
2 catches, 13 yards, second-round pick. Look good out there.
Justin Fields just breaking NFL records.
And losing.
That's okay.
But, yes, he did. I mean, look, the bottom line is we've seen enough, at least to me. Like, I've seen enough with this Titans offense to know that while it may get a little better than what we saw last night in terms of wide receiver with Burks and company coming back, maybe Phillips at some point, like, it's never going to be good. Like, they're not going to be a good wide receiving core this year. It's just not. I mean, that's the other part of this, and I know it's a little bit harder to judge him the last couple of games, but Robert Woods is basically a non-factor in the passing game. He looks slow, looks kind of old out there, and like you said, the Titans didn't bring him in to be the number one, The idea was for him to be the number 2 with A.J. Brown, and what would he look like if A.J. Brown was still here? I don't know. What would the Titans passing game look like if A.J. Brown was still here? I don't know. It'd look better than it does right now, but like I just don't even notice Robert Woods out there the last couple of games making plays, and that's not good. Now, how much of that is him? How much of that is Malik Willis? I don't know. But I think the whole year he's not been explosive.
I agree. But, yeah, the last couple of games is tough on that front for me because, like, 85% of your passing playbook isn't even employed.
Agreed.
You know, with Willis at QB. But I agree. I think Robert Woods, even in a role of, like, wide receiver 2 would probably be a little bit underwhelming. You never know. That's the thing. Like, if you have A.J. Brown, it changes so much of how you're defended, you know? So maybe there's more space for him. But, yeah, he hasn't looked all that explosive at all. Coming off an ACL, that is a thing. You know, that still does matter, and maybe he's never going to be the same player. The Titans have had a run of that, of getting guys lately who then turn out to be, you know, not the same as what the Titans thought they were getting. So I guess if you want to look at a positive, Austin Hooper targeted 3 times, and, you know, I mean, he can be Hooper, Okonkwo, at least you got some tight end production. But the wide receiver production, first of all, is not going to happen at all until Tannehill's back.
No.
And as we've talked about, who knows when that'll be. And, you know, it's so much now. It was already unfair to Treylon Burks. You know, the whole thing, draft night, and you make the terrible A.J. Brown trade, and now you're putting it on him. And now he's going to come back, and the state of this offense is so bad that it's like it could seriously, you're just like putting the eggs in the Treylon Burks basket now. Like, hey, can you be great now as a first-round pick? And that's probably just a little bit unfair.
Well, and this is starting to feel like the opposite of a couple years ago, Joe, where it's just like the offense for the Titans was unstoppable 2 years ago, and the defense couldn't stop anybody. And now it just kind of feels like the exact opposite with this team in a 2-year span. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
180. It really is.
615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get into Tennessee and Georgia. Disappointing performance for the Vols. Dominant performance from Georgia on Saturday down in Athens. What does it mean for the Vols in their pursuit for the college football playoff? All that coming up next. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Second and goal, and it's Henry walking into the end zone. The Titans put up a fight.
And it's over.
But fall in overtime to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.
I feel terrible for the players that compete, put so much into this, and I'm lucky that I get to coach them.
Now all eyes shift to the Broncos. Talking Titans on Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and one of the things I love about betting on the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout, and it's perfect for Monday Night Football, the Ravens and the Saints. Give me the Ravens on the money line. Give me Lamar Jackson as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball, but you take it any way you want to take it. Same game parlays, just one of the many reasons I bet with FanDuel. They've got great live betting options, great odds boosts and specials that you can take advantage of every single day as well. There's no feeling like nailing a same game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code ROB. Once again, that promo code is Rob. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Big Joe on the go. Look, I get it. Nobody likes being in a car accident, but when that happens, make it easy on yourself and call Apple Collision Centers so you don't have to stress. They're locally owned with 3 convenient locations in O'Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Apple Collision Centers managers combined for 60-plus years experience, and they only recommend original equipment parts on your vehicle. So, if you're in need of a repair today or down the road, just head over to Apple Collision Centers. Stan and his team will take great care of you. Online, applecollisioncenters.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Jonathan Hutton. You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment. And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Did you do anything defensively that you didn't anticipate, and was Hendon confused at times by certain looks?
No, there's some things that showed up from their tape that appeared more often. We had anticipated seeing, a bunch of different looks from them throughout the course of the football game. Protectionally, there in the third quarter, there was a couple of things that we didn't communicate very well. I didn't think, all in all, we handled the noise very well. That's false starts. It's being in sync, communication up front. At the end of the day, that hurt us, certainly early in the football game and then at times throughout the course of it.
That was Josh Heupel after the 27-13 loss for Tennessee on Saturday down in Athens between the hedges. Georgia dominant in that victory against Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee, I got a pair of tickets to give away to see the Tennessee Vols take on the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena on Sunday, November 13th. Be caller number 5 at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see the Tennessee Vols take on the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Sunday, November 13th. 615-737-1025. Joe, you were there in person for the game on Saturday. A dominant performance by the Georgia Bulldogs. Stetson Bennett looked really good on Saturday against Tennessee's defense, and Tennessee's offense, which has been unstoppable all season, was shut down by this Georgia defense. Hendon Hooker, 23 of 33, 195 yards, had an interception in the game. No touchdown passes for Hendon Hooker for the first time in 20 games. And Tennessee never got the ball rolling running as well. 42 carries on the day for Tennessee, 94 total yards. That's 2-2 a carry. So the Bulldogs did what nobody else has been able to do, and that is shut down Hendon Hooker and this offensive attack. What'd you make of that one on Saturday for the Vols?
Yeah, well, first of all, and some people on text line have asked me, I was totally wrong on this game. Totally wrong. I picked Tennessee to win like 45-42. So I was wrong. One, although I don't believe this is the same level of defense. I mean, it's not the same level of defense. 5 first-round picks, 8 draft picks last year. One of the best college defenses I've ever seen. I compared it to like the Nebraska teams in the mid-90s that were just overwhelming. This defense is not that, but this defense is freaking great.
Yeah.
And I underestimated it for sure. Just tremendous talent, discipline. Again, like a lot of those runs, I mean, the Vols went inside a lot, as they do. And in a lot, every other game this year, there's a broken tackle here or there. You know, there's some moments where you're in space and you make a move, you get some extra yards. I think Tillman did that one time, but the open field tackling alone from the Bulldogs was just spectacular. Coverage, I mean, the Keely Ringo play on Tillman, and yes, Dobbs, that should have been back shoulder. You know, and then maybe you have a chance, but still, just what an incredible NFL level first round cornerback play by Keely Ringo. And then look, there's that, and of course I was wrong about just Tennessee's execution. It's been so good, so reliable that I'm watching. I'm like, what do you do? They're going to execute. This is what they do. Look, if you went back to the Alabama game, Robbie, and Hendon Hooker missed a couple of those bombs that were laid out there for him to Jalen Hyatt, what happens? I think they lose by multiple scores to Alabama.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, when you have Hyatt open early, if he hits him for a touchdown there, does that change the game entirely? I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing from Georgia and they just kick their butt all day. But I'd like to see that play out, because I just felt like the Tennessee confidence, which was sky high as it should have been at the beginning, just got chipped away, and then finally, by the fourth quarter, it was like they were toast. I know they had the one TD, but incredibly impressive performance from Georgia, and just a bad performance from Hendon Hooker. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, he's the number one reason they've gotten to where they've got. He was the Heisman leader for a reason, and he's now not going to win the Heisman for a reason because of how he played Saturday. There's a lot that goes into it. And I know that we always put too much blame, too much credit with quarterbacks, but ultimately there were plays to be made. And Brew McCoy, wide open, missed him. There were plays to be made.
There were plays to be made. He missed some throws in that game. I will say it was the first time all season where Tennessee looked like they did not have the athletic advantage with their receivers. Like every time they caught the ball in space, Georgia tackled them. And that's not happened all year long. And, you know, Hyatt had the one play where he got tripped up with the official later in the game, or at the first part of the game was that play you're talking about where Hendon Hooker misses him on that play. You know, Brew McCoy was wide open a little bit later. Other than that, there just wasn't a whole lot there for Tennessee's wide receivers in that game. And that was kind of the first time all year that I felt like that happened. I mean, look, defensively, if you'd have told me heading into the game that Tennessee held Georgia to 27, I'm like, well, okay, Tennessee's going to win. That didn't happen. I think that score is a little bit deceiving. I mean, I thought Stetson Bennett looked really good, played really well in this game against Tennessee. You know, had Land McConkey streaking wide open out there at times. Tennessee or Georgia, I thought, ran the ball really well against this Tennessee defense for the most part. They had some big kind of game-changing runs. McIntosh was a load carrying the ball. So, look, I just thought it was a game where Georgia was clearly better than Tennessee was, and I think there's a significant gap between what we saw from Georgia on Saturday and what we saw from Tennessee. Now, the question is, if they ended up meeting again on a neutral field, would it look the same? Because that's the one good part, if you're a Tennessee fan, about Saturday. The college football playoff, to me, is still very much on the table for Tennessee. You lost to Georgia by 14 on the road. Clemson loses to Notre Dame on Saturday. Alabama goes down to LSU, and we can have the debate as to whether or not that's ultimately good for Tennessee in terms of the strength of their win. But the bottom line is that the college football playoff door is open. TCU still undefeated. They take on Texas coming up on Saturday, and Texas is a touchdown favorite in that game. So if TCU goes down, all of a sudden Clemson's lost, TCU's lost, and you'll have the Michigan-Ohio State game later in the season. Like, if TCU loses this Saturday, Joe, I think Tennessee's going to be in at 11-1.
I do too. There are a couple things that could be interesting. One, and there was some pretty good debate in the press box after the game. If Oregon rips through the Pac-12 and is a Pac-12 champion with the one loss to Georgia, that's an interesting conversation.
They're going to have a shot.
They're going to have a shot. Now, the champion thing, of course, is significant. I still think Tennessee's resume would be better, and Tennessee didn't get blown out as badly as Oregon did to Georgia. But it could be interesting. And then then there's the Michigan-Ohio State loser compared to Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I think neither of those teams can compare to what Tennessee has done. And the thing is, I agree with what you tweeted. You know, the Bama winning probably is the preferred route, and then all the way to the title game, and Georgia beats them. That's correct. That's your best case scenario to keep that win as strong as possible. But I think LSU is going to be what, 6 or 7 now?
They will be.
And you blew out number 6 or 7 or whatever they are by 27 at their place. So again, Tennessee's resume right now, Tennessee is well beyond a 50-50 chance to still be in the playoff. And look, Georgia is the favorite. They are the best team. I believe that with all my heart right now. Like, they are in position to win this because, again, their offense is really good too, and they took their foot off the gas a little bit. This could have been a bigger blowout. But the atmosphere did matter. It absolutely mattered. It hurt my head. It was incredibly loud. 7 false starts, man, for a team that already uses silent counts. I mean, you can't, blame Tennessee for sure, but you have to give some credit to that. The rain also, didn't help. It didn't help a Georgia throw also, but you put that in a weather-controlled, neutral site, that game, Tennessee getting another chance at that defense. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the rematch. And I honestly think this is probably a pretty sweet hot take 2 days after that game. I really think we could see Tennessee, Georgia play for the national title in Los Angeles on January 9th.
Well, I think there's a chance, and I think some of it's obviously going to depend on. So if you and I thought about this the other day. Let's say it's Georgia undefeated, and it's Ohio State undefeated, and then it's everybody else. Whether it's you want to put Oregon in there or you want to put Tennessee and Michigan both in there, I'd be interested to see how they seeded it. And I think what they would do, regardless of the resume, like if it's those 4 teams, if it's 2 from the Big Ten, 2 from the SEC, and it's Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Michigan getting in, I think you'll see Tennessee play Ohio State in the first game and Georgia play against Michigan just to avoid the rematch. I think that'll happen. The Oregon thing is really interesting to me. There's one thing, Joe, I've heard that I just don't think is going to happen, and that is LSU having a chance as 2 losses to get in if they win the SEC championship. Like, I can't see it. Like, if they beat Georgia in the SEC title game, that's great. They still got 2 losses, and they lost to Tennessee by 27 at home. Like, I don't see a path for LSU getting in. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it.
I think you're right. That would be the best win, period, in college football. And the argument would be all the way back then, they lost to Florida State. Look at them now. That's like, who's better than this team right now? I think you're right. But, boy, if that were to play out, it would be fascinating on Selection Day. Whew.
Yeah, it would. What do you think's going through Nick Saban's mind right now?
I don't know, man. I tell you what. I mean, Kirby's smart. That's another big picture here. I know we got some Georgia fans on the text line. Georgia is what Alabama used to be. I'm ready to declare it, man. And I'm not saying Alabama won't come back or be great, all that stuff. But Saban's got some stuff to figure out, I think, at the coordinator level.
Yeah.
I mean, you change so often, it's bound to hit you at some point. You got a generational quarterback. Like, I'm not sure that Bryce Young shouldn't win the Heisman again. And you're out of the playoffs as of November 5th.
Yeah.
That's not good. And Georgia is now that program.
Do you putting Stetson Bennett in the Heisman conversation?
I think he should be back in it. He was my number 1 in the first few weeks of the season. Yes, I think he should definitely be in New York. And, yeah, I am. How can he – the Heisman race is wild right now. Like, Stroud was terrible. It's like you could see someone like the May kid from North Carolina come up right now and do – like it's it's totally wide open. Unfortunately for Hendon Hooker, you perform like that in that game, and I think he can still get to New York, but that's probably about it for him.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode, his rant of the day. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robbie. We got a little Monday night football action tonight. Ravens and the New Orleans Saints. Ravens are favored by 1.5, and I definitely like that. I like the Ravens minus the 1.5. I just think even though they've had some injuries this year, they are the better team. I think you could take Lamar Jackson over on rushing. I think you could do an anytime touchdown by Mark Andrews because it looks like he is coming back. But listen, not just football's going on right now. We got everything going on. We got football, we got basketball, hockey, and soon enough the World Cup will be here. And there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. So when you sign up, deposit, and wager all on the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's busy to get time winning some money. So download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown. Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday. Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman Dane Key. It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. Oh, for the Rex Rant.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
On Robbie and Rexrode, here on ESPN, 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Never been around a group of guys like y'all. I'm dead serious. I mean, look, you talk about hitting some hard times. You guys just keep coming back, man. You just keep coming back. I've never seen anything like it. I told you Wednesday, man, I could smell something. You could smell something in the air, and you guys rallied. That ain't easy, man.
I could smell something, too. It's called the Packers being a bag of crap. That was Dan Campbell after the Lions' big win against the Green Bay Packers yesterday, which I'm sure has made Joe Rexroad just teeming with joy out there watching Dan Campbell's victory speech.
I mean, Corey Curtis tweeted yesterday like it's Joe against Robbie. I'm like, no. I'm on Robbie's side. Like I said, if I could have been wearing a cheese, it's so classic. The Lions trade away T.J. Hawkinson, who, by the way, looked really good for the Vikings yesterday and is going to be a very nice addition for them. Because it's time to just punt on the season and get a good draft pick. And then, of course, they start screwing up their draft position immediately. It's just so classic. So classic. I do apologize to you, Robbie, for not recognizing how much the Packers suck. My goodness.
They're awful. I'm not kidding you. Outside of maybe the Colts and the Texans and the way they're playing right now, the Packers may be the worst team in the NFL. I'm not joking. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Joe Rexroad?
It's truly astounding.
Your rant of the day. I turn things over to you.
Yeah, so here's a new one for me. This is, I guess it's a call for help rant. Like, and honestly, like, I'm really upset about this. Katie's really upset about this. So I'm using this to ask anyone if they've experienced this too, and what the hell should we do? So my wife, Katie Rexroad, who is a mother of 3, a communications professional, and someone who occasionally posts cute pictures of kids on Facebook, although really she doesn't even do that anymore because, like, the kids get mad. So really, like, I think she barely posts at all on Facebook. But Facebook is, and it's you can go back multiple phones now, right? With the catalog of videos and pictures that she has on there, which have the only reason I have an account is because she started my account, and then basically every once in a while it's like, hey, here's a cute memory of one of our kids from years ago when they were cute and liked us. Here, check it out, and I click on it, okay, and then I go away as I have no use. Well. Here's a note. Katie, on Saturday, found out her Facebook account is gone. Her Instagram account is gone. This is the note. Hi, Katie. We've determined you are ineligible to use Facebook. To learn more about Facebook's policies, please review blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, for safety and security reasons, we can't provide additional information as to why your account was disabled. We appreciate your understanding as this decision is final. Thanks. It's gone. Her account's gone. Both accounts are totally gone. They've been zapped from the earth. My account, which I looked at, all the pictures that she has shared with me over years are all gone.
I have never heard of this.
What?
It's actually it's actually really, really awful and makes me very, very sad. And I can't even describe how upset she is about this. And
that was an email from Facebook?
And that's the thing. When I read that email, I'm like, this sounds like a scam, like someone trying to get you to personal information or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a phishing scam, which are all over the place. But no, the account has been wiped from the earth. Like that.
Well, I'm looking right now. You are correct. She is not on my friends list anymore.
Yeah, I was just looking as well.
I mean, what the hell?
I've literally never heard of this.
So, now then we had the idea, okay, the kids get mad sometimes when there's a cute picture. Did someone complain to Facebook about something? Like, I don't know. I don't even know how that works, but we've been assured that's not the case. So I guess it's a hack job. All I know is, like, even if the account's gone, like, there are so many precious videos and pictures that were there that, again, go back to previous phones that she doesn't have anymore. Like, this is heartbreaking. So if anybody has a similar experience and has any idea what this might be, please let me know. I'm like, people work at Facebook, like, we're going to find out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's Katie Rexroad. I can give you her credentials as a human being. Like, she has done nothing to have her freaking Facebook account zapped from the earth. Like, what kind of a website are we talking about here? It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Yeah, I was hoping to get text from somebody like, oh yeah, I've heard this, but I'm getting like Kyle Tucker, who's like, dude, WTF on the Facebook thing. Exactly. This is a huge WTF. So if anybody has any information or any idea of what we should do or has ever dealt with Facebook, please let us know.
Hit up the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, there's like big companies coming after the Rex Road family. Uber won't give you your money back, and now Facebook is taking down your pictures and accounts. This is a strange time for the Rex Road household.
I mean, my gosh. Yeah, okay, so Johnny's like, yeah, like a hack. That you've heard about, like he said, my mom's Facebook hacked, took her 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, I mean, you've heard of those things, right? Oh, my account got hacked. Twitter accounts get hacked. Then you have to, like, it's a big pain in the butt. But they don't get zapped from the earth. Said this decision is final. That's it. Like what? That's like that Sandra Bullock movie, like where she gets her identity erased on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
So somebody
freaked out about it.
Somebody called in and said it happened to his sister, but basically it's like somebody hacks the account and then they change the name and everything, and then Facebook's like, okay, you're not who you say you are. So then they deactivate the account. That's what he said happened to his sister. They found out, but some like similar to what happened to Katie. So it's like a hack, and then Facebook
was she able
detects
to recover her? Was she able
so.
to recover her photos and videos?
I don't think so.
That's the key question. Can we get our photos and video? Like, unbelievable, man.
Yeah. 615-737-1025 if you have advice for Rex Road. Some of your texts already pouring in. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Corey Curtis from News 2. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and their performance last night in Kansas City. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee. We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air. Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah. The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the latest power tool in roofing. Searching, ordering, tracking. Plus the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Thank you for calling Navy Federal Credit Union. How can I help you?
Hi, if I'm in the Army, not in the Navy, am I still eligible for membership?
Yes, you are.
What about my sister in the Air Force?
Her too.
And my dad's a Marine.
We serve all branches of the military, veterans, and their families.
My dog is a retired military working dog.
I'll see what I can do.
Find out if you're eligible at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game,
Checker
flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rex Road. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rex Road on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour number 3, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rex Road, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And as we do every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Corey Curtis from News 2, who I'm sure is just dying to talk to me today. Corey, good morning. How we doing?
You know, I'm good. I hope you're well. I'll just say this about the Packers. Just imagine if they were paying Aaron Rodgers $52 million this year, how bad they would feel.
Yeah, be really bad. Could throw in a couple extra $1 million. It'd be tough out there. Big game by the Lions.
I'm not saying this to poke at you. I was stunned. I can't believe it was like, Russell Wilson earlier this year. I can't believe I've ever watched Russell Wilson play this bad. I watched Aaron Rodgers yesterday in disbelief with how truly awful he was.
That was the worst game of his career by far. It's not even close.
I mean, that's the worst defense in the NFL. You throw 2 interceptions at the goal line. And, by the way, the Bakhtiari play, he's wide open.
Missed him by 5 yards.
He underthrew him by $1 million. And he's over there throwing a temper tantrum like it's a bad call or something. Complete the pass, man. You make $50 million.
Hashtag suck for Stroud. See how that goes with the Packers out there. What'd you make of that one last night from the Titans? Obviously, you can look at the box score and talk about how the Titans gave up 450 yards passing. I thought it was an excellent performance defensively last night for the most part for the Titans, and then Mahomes got loose with his legs, and that ended up being the difference in the game. But overall, what did you think of that one last night for the Titans?
Guys, it was a stunning effort. It was a stunning effort. When you heard Tannehill wasn't going to play, who realistically thought, we're going to go in there and take care of this thing? Going in, we said, how do they win this game or be in position to win this game? And you pull them into a phone booth and you beat them over the head for 4 quarters. And that's exactly what they were able to do, which is kind of stunning. I mentioned this on Twitter last night, and, some people agreed, some people disagreed, whatever. That's their opinion. You brought up Mahomes. The biggest moment in the game is when Bud Dupree left with the hip injury, because Bud is very good at rushing the passer and keeping containment. And Rashad Weaver just blew right by him on 3rd and 17, and then he blew right by him on the 14-yard touchdown run. Both times Weaver lost containment, and Mahomes makes them pay. You don't need a sack on 3rd and 17. You need a stop. And so, for a team that played incredibly disciplined, when you play great players and really good teams, those brief lapses can ultimately be what cost you. Now, there are other moments in the football game the ball on the 40-yard line in the fourth quarter and you don't come up with 3 points, we can pick apart play calling or whatever you want there. But I just, if Bud Dupree's on the field, they win that football game. There's no doubt in my mind.
So should Titans fans feel better or worse about things today after that game?
I think you feel better because you can play with anybody. I mean, really, that defense can go out and play with anybody. If you've got 9 games to get your offense in a position to win on a higher level. You can run the football. You've shown that. You've got to get some weapons back in the passing game, and you got to get your quarterback back. There's no question. I mean, Malik was fun in the first half. It made some plays and made some really impressive throws, and even made some good throws in the second half where his receivers, didn't help them out. But all you want to do is have a chance when you get to the tournament. We've seen that over and over again, and I feel you've got to feel pretty good about this team's chances of getting there, and then seeing what happens.
Well, Corey, I know none of us are doctors, thankfully, but as you look at Tannehill and the videos coming out last night, knowing that it's an ankle sprain, he's not moving out there. Like, how concerned are you that this could be another 3 weeks before he's back out there?
Well, okay. I say in one breath I'm real concerned because I agree. He's just standing out there like a statue. And you're like, why is this even a decision? But then he's not on injured reserve. So there's clearly reason to believe that he could come back this last week or this next week. If you knew he was going to miss 3-4 weeks for sure, you'd put him on IR and move forward. But judging by the lack of movement we saw in the pregame, I have a hard time believing that we'll see him this Sunday. Now, maybe he makes a big leap forward, but it's going to be tough. And by the way, Denver may stink, but their defense is still good.
Yeah.
And this, it'll be another big challenge for Malik Willis.
Would you consider Logan Woodside instead of Malik Willis?
I mean, it's a good question, Joe. The coaches are the ones who have to decide that. Look, if they elevate him again, they have to put him on the active roster. So you're gonna lose a roster spot, and you're bringing back Traylon Burks. You're gonna lose another roster spot. I'm sure we can find 2 guys to jettison, but those are decisions that have to be made. The one thing with Malik was you saw it in the first half in particular was his ability in the run game help opened up some things for Derek in the run game. I don't know what happened in the second half. Obviously I was not at the game last night. Did Vrabel talk at all about Derek's 17 carries after averaging 30 the last 3 weeks?
I don't think so.
And what happened in the second half to see him on the sideline so much? I mean, did they have him on a pitch count or something? Because I frankly didn't understand.
Well, and Corey, to that point, like the thing that I raise my eyebrows out there is like I understand Dontrell Hilliard's your third down back, but like when it's 3rd and 4, I'd kind of like to see Derrick Henry out there on the field, at least for nothing else other than a threat.
Well, and the other thing is Hilliard, and it got him again last night. He can't block at all. I mean, just he cannot block to save his life, and he cost him. I can't remember if it was a pressure or a sack. But look, we all get frustrated. You're too predictable. They're too basic. They're too boring. They're too blah 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 blah. The one time we wanted them to be predictable, they weren't. And that was when they were over there on the 40-yard line in the fourth quarter with a chance to go up 2 scores. You just wanted them to give it to the big guy and charge forward and get him in spot to kick one through. Because, by the way, Bullock was kicking the ball phenomenally last night. I mean, every one of his kicks was right down the pipe and hammered. And they got away from that, and it ultimately cost them. Like I said, we've seen this team hand the ball off 12 times in a row and go down the field. And for some reason, in the second half, they weren't willing to do that. Now, look, if Nick Westbrook-Akina makes a catch, we're not having this conversation. If Conley makes a catch, we're not having a conversation because those are 2 beautifully thrown balls, and they've got to catch them. But in a game like that, typically, to me, you want your best players to win them for you. And it didn't feel like Henry got a chance to win the game in the second half for them.
Yeah, no, look, I agree. I mean, certainly only having 48 offensive plays in an overtime football game while your opponent has 91 means that even the number of carries Derek had was still a third of their plays, right? So, I mean, like the ratio is about right, but I agree. There's a couple plays where it's like, you know what, just you rise or you win or lose with 22. I think the Westbrook-Akine play is really interesting because it was there. It was an element of surprise. The play was there to be made, and you're at least going to get a field goal if you catch that ball and you're up 20-9. But Henry had just carried it 3 times for 12 yards, and if you get 2 carries more, you know, get like 5 yards, then like you said, I mean, Bullock was kicking it well. That might be enough, and instead, then you get the blown up screen. That stage of the game right there to me was so critical. In terms of possibly being able to put them away, which I know sounds wild, but that's how the game was going.
2 scores seemed monumental at that time. Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of just the like you said, Corey, you move forward. First of all, like you're in very good position to win this division. You continue to be.
Yep.
I mean, so it is almost like the rest of this year is getting things together. So you get some of those guys back, Burks, you know, Phillips, maybe McMath.
Mm-hmm.
You get Tannehill back at some point. The offensive line, you got nothing else new. Like this is what you are. Is that offense? Could that offense be good enough to win playoff games for you?
It's going to have to be, right? It's going to have to be. I mean, it's not the ideal way to do it because you know, you feel like you can win one playoff game. Like, you might be able to beat the Chiefs, but can then you beat Buffalo doing the same thing the next week or the Bengals the next week? I mean, it's tough to replicate when you but like last year, obviously it didn't happen. But, you know, when you've got an A.J. Brown, you've got a guy who can win a game for you by himself. And, you know, we've seen Derrick Henry pretty much win games by himself. But it would be nice to have more than one of those guys who can win it kind of by themselves. So there's a lot less room for error, and you've got to create more opportunities on defense. And you know, would they have 1 interception last night?
Yeah.
On the yeah. And you know, in a game like that, you know, you probably need 2, you know, to get through to the other side. Because it's just quarterbacks like Mahomes and Allen and Burrow, 17 points, that's a tough formula for success.
Corey, last thing for you here. Have you seen enough out of Fulton this year for you to believe the Titans have a legitimate number 1 corner in Christian Fulton?
Look, he has been fantastic the last 6-7 weeks. I mean, you know, the one pass he gives up, he's draped all over the guy. His stat lines are so clean because he's not making any tackles because nobody's catching any passes against him. You know, he's been really, really, really good for this football team. And, you know, knock on wood, he stayed healthy here. And it's made a big, big difference. Now, they've got one of the highest, if not the highest, pass rush pressure rates in the league. And so that makes everybody better. But he's been really, really good. McCrary's been really, really good. I mean, you got to feel really good about both of those guys. You've just been kind of, you know, trying to patch together that third one because those 2 guys have been really good football players for you. Both tackle well, but they cover. They get on people. And you know, I've been saying this for like 4 weeks now. Christian Fulton is playing at a really high level and looking really good for this team.
Corey Curtis from News 2, our guest here on Robbie and Rex Road, joins us every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. Corey, appreciate you as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning.
Well, it was a wonderful Sunday in which we saw the Green Bay Packers lose, the Bears lose, but you know, there's a difference between one team and the other.
Yes, there is. Well, apparently there's not at the moment, which is the problem.
Well, no, one's got hope, and the other one's got a $50 million anchor around its neck.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate you being with us this morning.
Congrats, Joe.
Hang up on Corey.
Corey Curtis, our guest here on Robbie and Rex Road. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans. I will not take your thoughts on the Packers at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More on the Titans and Chiefs coming up next. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
At Krebs Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right with the parts you need and a service department that provides regular maintenance on all your equipment. From the largest excavator to the smallest 2-cycle engine, Krebs Kubota can get the job done. And ask about pickup and delivery options. Stop by Krebs Kubota, located at 2240 Northwest Broad Street, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or visit them at KrebsKubota.com.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
In winning teams, every player brings their unique strength and has an impact on the results. The Dallas Mavericks drafted Jason Kidd with the 2nd pick in the 1995 draft. But after 2.5 seasons, they traded him to Phoenix, and he then played for the Nets. It was not until he was 34 when he became a Maverick once again. He was exactly what they needed and became an integral part of a team that went on to win the 2011 NBA Finals over the Miami Heat.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
If your team needed a point guard, you wouldn't waste your time interviewing centers and forwards, right? Well, the same is true for your business. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 850 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robbie and Rex Road podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rex Road, Michelle Knezovic here with you. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee, discussing a 20-17 overtime loss for the Titans last night at Arrowhead. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. A gutsy performance from this Titans defense last night. They give up 446 yards passing to Patrick Mahomes, which sounds awful, but if you actually watch the game last night, Mahomes threw the ball 68 times, That's only 6-6 of completion. And, Joe, for the majority of that game, the Titans defense was stifling that Kansas City offense. And then a 3rd and 17 rolls around. Mahomes gets outside the pocket. He gets loose, has a run that, as you said earlier, kind of reminiscent of the run he had in the AFC title game a few years ago. That gets Kansas City going. He runs one in the end zone as well, and Kansas City ultimately wins the game in overtime. But, Joe, I just thought an outstanding performance for the most part from the Titans defense yesterday. It wasn't perfect. You're not going to be perfect against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but I thought for the most part they did an outstanding job in that game yesterday against Kansas City.
Yeah, if you didn't watch this game and you looked at the stats, you might think, although the score would give you a little hint, but you might think a lot. It was a lot different than it was. The defense was tremendous. I mean, again, even in overtime, you give up the big play, he gets loose again. He finds his guy in the middle of the field. It's a classic Mahomes play, but to not give up the touchdown there against that team, it's just so many big time sequences and moments from that defense. They did well more than anyone should have asked of them, and I thought they'd come in and be physical and keep the score down pretty well in this game, and give the Titans some kind of chance. But I didn't think they would do what they did, which really was. I feel like for part of that game early on, it was a lot of trash talk, a lot of pushing and shoving. Kelsey and Long and Simmons and all these guys. I feel like Kelsey looked like he was off his game for a while. I think they got to him.
He was rattled.
That nice bowling form on that, taking the helmet off on the field and then rolling it through the field. Bowling form looked good there. Good save from Travis Kelsey.
Which, by the way, technically that should have been flagged, I believe, right?
But apparently he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. It was a really impressive performance, and it bodes well, except you got Bud Dupree in the hip again. And I mean, they're still very good. Like, you take Bud Dupree off the field Sunday, I still like the Titans' chances to get a lot done defensively against Denver. And a lot of the teams on their schedule ahead, but you do need that edge presence. And I don't know if I agree with Corey that they flat out win either way. By the way, Michelle, I don't know if this is a Freudian slip, but the tweet says if Dud Dupree is on the football field now, that some people are going to start calling him Dud Dupree.
That's awesome.
Well, that was a complete accident, but I mean, if the people like it, no. Thank you. But
it might stick.
I mean, Dupree. Honestly, though, nice catch. I should just say I came up with it. Thanks, Joe.
Hashtag, get that hashtag. Can we get some analysis of hashtag Dud Dupree and hashtag Jared's Film Room?
Maybe so.
This week is what I'd like to know. But I don't know if I agree with Corey, like that he, that they have flat out win. But there is a difference, and he's right. I mean, Weaver, the one play in particular, just really lost containment, and you got to rush with discipline against Mahomes and make him make that throw to pick up that amount of yardage on third down, So disappointing loss. And a TD had a video of Derrick Henry shaking all the defensive players' hands. Good for Derrick Henry, because they deserve that. They deserve better in this game. It's amazing. You said earlier in the show, Robbie, to think back like 2 years ago after every game, it's like Henry and Tannehill and all these guys are like, well, we believe in our defense and this is a team, we're going to stick together. And, those guys are going to turn it around, and you got guys like Simmons and Byard, great players who were just like throwing their hands up. They can't get a third down stop to save their lives. And 2 years later, it's like the defensive guys, we believe in that offense. And those guys, we're a team, we're going to stick together. And I mean, it's just incredible, the absolute 180 this team has done in 2 years.
It is, and it was a battle of best on best last night, Joe, from this standpoint. The league's best third down defense against the league's best third down offense last night in Kansas City. And, the Chiefs go 8 of 19, so, I mean, it's not the numbers the Titans have been putting up on third down all year, but, I mean, you hold your own on third down, you get off the field a few times. The problem is the one time that it really bit you where you didn't get off the field was 3rd and 17, and that's a tough one to swallow with Mahomes escaping the pocket that way.
Yeah, and look, some of last night was Mahomes is incredible. I mean, ask the Buffalo Bills what he can do in a short period of time, especially on that field. It is quite something. I'm getting in my own personal text line people complaining about Travis Kelce, the helmet across the field, also taking Kalu's helmet off in the end zone. I will say on that play, I absolutely think Kalu held him to start. So you said earlier, maybe offsetting penalties there. I mean, I think they threw the flag on holding, and then Kelce takes his helmet off, and it's just a complete wrestling match. But there were some calls the Titans have cause to be upset about today. I'm sure Mike Vrabel will enjoy going through the film from an officiating perspective.
Well, again, and I said this earlier, like that call bothers me, but calls like that happen, and especially, like it or not, when you're dealing with superstar players, sometimes they get the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it happens in the NFL and the NHL, whatever sports you want to throw out there. The bigger problem I have with the officiating last night is, there's a play the Titans run the ball, and Aaron Brewer gets called for holding. And by the letter of the law, yes, it's holding, like he was holding the guy, but it wasn't like some egregious holding penalty. And then I turn around the next drive, and I swear to you, every other play, Jeffrey Simmons is getting held. I mean, the guy is just getting held nonstop in that game. T.R. Tart breaks through the line of scrimmage and has two guys wrapped up around his hip, preventing him from getting to Patrick Mahomes. Like, you can see him basically being drugged to the ground behind him, and nothing's called there. Those are the things that I have problems with. Like, you're going to have bad calls, but when there's zero consistency with what's holding and what's not, that drives me nuts in an NFL game, and that was on full display last night.
Yeah, like if you're never going to call a hold on Jeffrey Simmons, then the holding that you call the other way better be just egregious. And I don't think that was the case with the Brewer hold. It's almost like the basketball team, by the way, happy opening day, college basketball. It's almost like the basketball team that fouls the crap out of its opponents to the extent that you just change the standard of what a foul is. It's like Jeffrey Simmons, because he's held all the time, you never called. I mean, I think it should almost be like, okay, give him a couple, give him like 1.5, right? Like, wait for the really bad one, like Trey Smith, just handful of jersey, and go ahead and give him that one, because he's getting held a ton. It is amazing to go through. I mean, sure, again, Vrabel going through that film and focusing on the trenches. Like, how many times is he going to say, there's a hold, there's a hold, there's a hold?
I imagine he's going to have a lot to pick from, and be interested to see today if he throws the NFL officiating Twitter handle out there again as well. Nice touch from Vrabel last night in the press conference. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get into the performance offensively for the Titans coming up next. Take your thoughts on that as well. When the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes!
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi. Matt Boucher.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Two icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Always. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint. He's a 10. And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose. But we're gonna win. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code PLAY for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
At the Home Depot, we have Black Friday savings all through November. And with that comes a joyful holiday bustle that we just love to hear. Although we also love the sound that comes after the holidays, when people put their new tools to use. In fact, we love it so much, when you buy select Milwaukee M18 kits, you'll get an extra tool for free. So after you're done filling the air with holiday magic, you can fill it with the sounds of doing. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Got a pair of tickets to give away to see MTSU this Saturday as they take on the Charlotte 49ers at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see MTSU this Saturday as they take on Charlotte at Floyd Stadium. 615-737-1025. Discussing the Titans and the Chiefs. Titans fall to 5-3 last night with their overtime loss to Kansas City. An epic performance by the Titans defense last night that gave them a chance to win. Joe, offensively for the Titans, bad news from the jump. Ryan Tannehill goes out there in warm-ups. I guess they determined pretty quickly he's not going to be able to give it a go. Malik Willis, a starting quarterback last night. And it actually, it started okay for the Titans in the first half. You got the big play to Chigakonkwo, 48 yards on the first play of the game for the Titans offensively. Derrick Henry's running wild in the first half. He has, I think, was it a 25-yarder the first time, and then a 56-yarder he broke later in the game. 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry in the first half as well. And then offensively, outside of a field goal off of a Roger McCreary turnover, not much in the second half for the Titans moving the ball. Malik Willis finishes 5 of 16 for 80 yards. Throwing the football, he also added another 40 on the ground. 17 carries, 115 yards for Derrick Henry with those 2 touchdowns. Just not a lot out there for the Titans offensively. What did you make of Malik Willis and his performance in his second game as starting quarterback for the Titans?
Well, it was better. It was definitely better, I think. First of all, especially in the first half, I swear, if we talk about the Titans offensively this year, they're actually, at times, a decent-looking offensive team in the first halves of games and just awful in the second halves of games. Yep. In the first half, I thought getting that read option going a little bit and some other stuff to get his running ability involved was good. There was some creativity that utilized what he can bring to a team. And then the thing with when you have a Derrick Henry, and I think this is pretty much true across the board. When you have a Derrick Henry and you are as limited as this team is on the outside, you can pretty much count on there's no safety that's coming over to
well, that was potentially
a fade on the side. It's man or it's match cover.
That was potentially the most entertaining Robo Joe we've ever had.
I know, and he doesn't realize yet.
I think he knows it now. I think he's back, though. Joe Rexroad's back in the program.
Am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
Wonderful. That was actually my best point of the show by far. Let me start again. So when you have a Derrick Henry and I don't think it matters who you're playing in this league. You have a Derrick Henry and you're limited on the outside. Basically, you know that those fades outside the numbers, like it's good. Like you're not have to worry about a safety. Basically, they had Malik Willis throw passes that involved no worried about what the coverage is, no pre-snap, no post-snap. You outside the numbers, you're fine. Like it's whether it's a zone look or a matchup in zone look or a man look, it's the same thing. It's one-on-one on the outside. So throw the fade. And he has already demonstrated ability to throw the fade well, and he threw some really good ones last night. So that alone makes it to me an improvement over the first game when you didn't see much of anything from him in the passing department that gave you any encouragement. But then obviously at the end, I mean, as the game went on, you could see like you just can't really run your whole offense. That's why your offense has to be different. I mean, you have to basically try to run a Baltimore Ravens kind of offense when Malik Willis is at quarterback, which I thought they did more of in the first half than the second half. So it's not just not giving it to Derrick Henry enough, which I think is totally fair. It's also not using Malik Willis as a runner enough to me after halftime. I think you have to do that stuff. I mean, the only pass plays are going to be those fades, screens, one-read bootlegs where you're throwing to the tight end or somebody crossing. That's all you're going to run right now with Malik Willis as your quarterback. You're not running anything over the middle of the field with him.
A few takeaways from me offensively last night. I mean, I agree. I think Malik Willis was better last night than he was in Houston. Obviously, some plays toward the end of the game where I just think a lot of it is inexperience that takes over, taking some sacks that you just can't take, especially in overtime. But having said that, he's 5 of 16 for 80 yards. The stat line looks horrible for Malik Willis. But what does it look like if Chris Conley and Nick Westbrook-Akine catch the ball? I mean, you brought it up on the fade routes. They're perfectly thrown. I mean, you cannot throw a football any better than Malik Willis threw the ball to Chris Conley on that one-on-one route. It was a great throw to Nick Westbrook-Akine too, and Westbrook-Akine got both of his hands on it. Like, you need your wide receivers, especially in the situation that the Titans are in, to come down with those balls and help out the quarterback. And the wide receivers last night end up not having a single catch, albeit they didn't have a ton of opportunities. But when you get them, you got to make those plays. And Conley drops the ball, Westbrook-Akine drops the ball, and you just can't have that in this situation. And Vrabel brought it up last night. You could tell. I mean, that's a sore subject with him too. Like, you've got to be able to come down and catch the ball. I thought that, Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 115 yards. I thought there were multiple occasions in the second half where he could have gotten the ball more. I said this with Corey a couple of segments ago. I understand that Dontrell Hilliard's your quote-unquote third down back. And I don't even mind Dontrell Hilliard being on the field. We talked about that last game. But Derrick Henry in 3rd and 4 needs to be on the field. And whether he's getting the ball or not, Derrick Henry needs to be on the field at 3rd and 4. So just some disjointed stuff going on there. And then, Joe, the bottom line is this. The second half has been a massive struggle for the Titans all year. They flashed up this graphic last night on the broadcast on Sunday Night Football. The Titans have scored 9 points in the fourth quarter the whole year. 9. And we can talk about the limitations of the offense. We've talked about that a lot. Obviously, not having Ryan Tannehill hurts. But the bottom line is, at some point, like 9 points in the fourth quarter all season long also comes back to the offensive coordinator, and that's a problem. Like, he is failing in that regard. And I thought there was another case of that again last night.
Yeah, look, I think I'm with you on third medium. I think he's got to be out there more. 58% of the snaps, not good enough. Even in pass pro, one of those sacks Malik Willis took in overtime, which, by the way, one of them, it was a screen that it was there.
Yep.
And Malik Willis he's got to just get rid of the ball to him, and Swaim actually has a lot of room in front of him. But actually, Derrick Henry in pass pro, I was like, my gosh, he could almost be an offensive tackle at this point with that punch.
He was mashing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, like you said, it was actually 24 on that one run. So 2 carries for 80 yards, which means 15 for 35 otherwise for Derrick Henry. So, like, the idea of you just over and over and he's going to grind it out. No, you have to mix it up some. But there were a few plays where it's like, when it comes down to it, who's your best football player? Who is your best football player? Like, when they were closing in on the field goal that I think really could have been, well, look, if you play out the rest of the game, the Chiefs did not get that field goal to win at the end. So technically that would have won the game for them.
It was 17-9 at the time. Yeah.
Right. You're so close to about to be up 20-9, and you go play action, fade to Westbrook-Akine, and then you go screen to Hilliard that Nick Bolton just completely diagnosed and blew up. And it's like, man, 22 right there. He had gone the last 3 plays before that. He had picked up 12 yards, 4, 7, and 1. I feel like right there is where you want one more from him. And there's a couple other spots in the game where, again, not just him, but also him and Willis as a threat together. That is a lot more worrisome for Kansas City than letting them come rush Malik Willis against your bad offensive line, bad pass blocking offensive line. Use your good run blocking offensive line.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam from Portland. Adam, what's going on?
Hey, man. Yeah, what's frustrating is that I feel like Denny Green, we know exactly what we were getting last night. There was nothing surprising about what happened last night to me at all. The only thing I'm surprised about is Randy Bullock hit his kicks. He was good, which I didn't expect. Every time he tried it out there, I wasn't expecting to hit. It's just one of them things, man. It's like you look at the team as a whole. We're 5-3. Really, I don't know if you guys were feeling it in the fourth quarter. I'm like, this game's not over with. It's not over. I mean, at some point they're going to score, and then it's going to be on us to score, and that's when you start getting nauseous. Like, how are we going to score? And I think we just need Burks and Phillips back. They're our only hope. I know they're not great, but we're not good enough. Y'all talked about those drop passes. That's what I'm thinking the whole time I'm watching. There's a reason Conley wasn't signed by anybody else. You need more capable players for him. So if we're going to hopefully get Tannehill back, but if not, then we need to get somebody out there for him to touch it.
Hey, thanks for the call, Adam. And Joe, to that point, we'll continue the discussion on the Titans offense and also get to the Ryan Tannehill conversation, because based on what I saw last night, I think there's some reason for concern for Tannehill as you move forward here. 615-737-1025. We'll get to that coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robbie. We've got a little Monday night football action tonight. Baltimore Ravens and New Orleans Saints. The Ravens are favored by 1.5. I definitely like that. So give me the Ravens minus the 1.5. I just think they're the better team. I also think if you want to throw in some props in there, you can do Lamar Jackson over on rushing, and also a Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. He is back in the lineup, and listen, I hope he gets one because that'll be very good for my fantasy team. But basketball is also back today. We got hockey and soon enough the World Cup, and there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager all in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. So when the sports world is busy, let's get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown. 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams. At Bridgestone Arena, Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Well, I mean, very disappointing. You know, I mean, I feel terrible for the players that compete, put so much into this and play through pain, through discomfort, you know, through any situation. I'm lucky that I get to coach them. They fight, and you know, we got to get back to work. We got to get healthy, and we got to get some rest, and you know, figure out a way to beat Denver coming off another bye. You know what I mean?
That was Mike Vrabel last night after the loss by the Titans 20-17 in overtime. A gutsy performance by the Titans defense. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Dennis on the text line says, my outlook on Malik has taken a major nosedive the past 2 weeks. I knew he was a project, but he is a long way away. It's like he's allergic to just letting it rip. That's not a good trait for a quarterback. This is from Dennis on the text line. There does seem to still be some decision-making issues in terms of just the confidence to let it fly out there.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I think anybody who's really disappointed in what they've seen from him, I mean, this was discussed a lot. I feel like the preseason was so deceiving because he made like 3 or 4 really nice plays.
Yeah,
you know, in the preseason games. I mean,
well, look, he made 3 or 4 nice plays last night, but it's the consistency that you got to bring to the table.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, look, I mean, I agree. He's a long way away. Don't know if he's going to get there. This isn't like all that different to me from what I would have guessed it would have been. I still think again, there's a case to be made for Logan Woodside. But if you're all in on until Tannehill's back, it's Malik Willis. Well, then this offense has to look more like I think it did in the first half, and you have to utilize what he does well and go all in on that. And that's justification for me to have him instead of Woodside, a guy who you could run more of your passing offense if you had him in there.
Joe, what's your concern level with Tannehill? So, we see the videos coming out yesterday on the Sunday Night Football broadcast. TD, Paul Kaharski, Buck, everybody you want to throw in there had video of Tannehill out there taking warm-ups yesterday too. And it just looked like there was not a whole lot of movement. I mean, he was basically standing still throwing the football. And, Adam Schefter brought up yesterday that it's a possible high ankle sprain that Ryan Tannehill is dealing with. Now, again, I don't think that's necessarily anything new by Schefter. He didn't confirm it was a high ankle sprain, and the guy was in a walking boot over a week ago. And thanks to Joe Rexroad's Capital J journalism work, we do know it is at least an ankle sprain that he's dealing with. But, Joe, to me, he doesn't look like he could really move out there last night in the warm-up, and that really, to me, is concerning and calling in question what his availability is going to look like on Sunday against Denver. But also, keep in mind after that, it's not just Denver. You got a quick turnaround right after that on Thursday night where you got to go to Green Bay and play the Packers. So you got 2 games coming up in a short amount of time. And based on, my non-medical expertise that I saw with my own 2 eyes last night with some of these videos, I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine Tannehill being ready to go on Sunday if he can't move.
No, I agree. At this point, I would guess he's going to miss the next 2 because it's Denver at home, and then it's like you said, the quick turn, you go to Lambeau, and then you got 10 days between that and the Bengals coming in here in a pretty big freaking game. Thanksgiving Sunday. So at that point, you would be talking about what, more than a month? I guess what that would be, a month and 4 days from when he sustained the injury, right? And that's if it's a high ankle sprain, typically it's 4 to 6 weeks. Those things are legit. That's a much different injury than just ankle sprain. High ankle sprain is, ligament tears, and it just doesn't heal like that. So, like Corey Curtis said, I guess if they knew it was that right from the start, why not go to IR with him? I guess when you do this for a couple weeks, you keep your opponent guessing a little bit. I guess there's some value in that, but his lack of mobility, and then that little inkling there, and there's been whispers of the high ankle sprain already. That makes me think that this is not going to be a quick return for Tannehill.
Well, and that's incredibly limiting on what I think is already a limited offense. Now, the good news is if your defense plays the way that they played the last 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to shut down Denver. And I can tell you're going to shut down Green Bay based on the way that they've played. So the schedule at the beginning of the season, you looked at this stretch and it's like, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers back to back to back, and then toss a little Joe Burrow in there after that. That's a heck of a stretch. Hey, look, I guess it still could turn out to be that way if you're the Titans, but Russell Wilson in Denver looks way less daunting right now than they looked before. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers might be the worst team in the NFL right now, and I can tell you the offensive game plan for that game needs to be turn around, hand the ball to Derrick Henry, and he will run for 275 yards in that game against that Packers defense. I promise you. So maybe it's a little bit less of a big deal with Tannehill out now, but it's still incredibly limiting. And we've talked about this. The Titans defense is going to keep you in every game, but I think the Titans offense may be able to keep the opposition in every game just because I don't think they have the ability to separate. And, Joe, they may not have the ability to separate if Tannehill's fully healthy and in there. I don't know. They've not displayed that so far this year. But with him out of there, it's going to require Todd Downing and this offensive staff to be creative, to not be afraid to use Malik Willis in the running game, and I think there's real cause for concern that Tannehill may miss the next couple of games. Now, as far as making the playoffs, it may not matter because the AFC South is terrible and the Colts continue to lose. The Jags, I know, got a big win yesterday against the Raiders, but Titans are still in great shape to win their division. But in terms of AFC seeding and where you could be, You need to win these next couple of games. The Titans are a better team than the Broncos and the Packers right now, and you need your quarterback to be in there, and it looks like he may not be.
Right. When you look at the Bengals and Eagles, those teams, I understand what the Titans did against the Chiefs on the road last night. Awfully impressive, but every matchup's different. Bengals and Eagles have the explosiveness to make it tough on you if your offense is this limited, So those are tough games. I mean, to me, it's like, and I hear you on Green Bay, man. They look awful. I still look at a primetime short turnaround road game there for a team that,
they're toast.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
And now they lost like 8 players yesterday, and it looks like Rashawn Gary may have torn his ACL. They're toast.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, even if they're toast, like the one-time random game where you rise up, like the stupid Lions did yesterday, it could happen. Denver, to me, is like, that's a critical game. They're just so bad offensively that at your place, you should be able to like figure out defense and running the ball enough to grind one out, and you need to, and then, we'll see with Green Bay, because those next two, like you said, I would think Tannehill would be back by like the Cincinnati game. I would think, but okay, who's catching the ball? Who's blocking for him? I mean, there's still plenty of questions on this offense. At least it can operate as an NFL offense then again.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Rob from Nashville. Rob, thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys, I hadn't called in a while, but I feel like that I need to call in today, okay? I normally call in on Jerry's show, fantastic show. By the way, y'all got a great show, too, also.
Thank you.
But I'm just going to say this. After watching that game last night, you know what? The Titans are a good team, but they'll be a better team than me if they get rid of this Todd Downing freak. He reminds me of that Mike Mularkey freak. I'm sorry to say it. But, I mean, he put these guys in a terrible situation. I mean, they come out second half doing these dumb things. I mean, why are you not having Derrick Henry out there? Derrick Henry is the bread and butter to this team. It makes no sense to have Derrick Henry sitting over there. Derrick Henry was just sitting over there. He was just like in a daze. He could not believe it. He didn't have to say nothing. People seen it on TV. Derrick Henry said, now why am I not out there? It makes no sense. And if they continue on letting this guy run these plays, I don't care who they get on there. They can get Mac the refrigerator, whoever they get. If their play calling is bad, the Titans are still going to be the Titans. They're not going to get past the hump. So I don't care what player, you can go get the best players out there, but if they're not being put in the position and utilized right, they're not going to be winners. They're just going to be barely getting by. So that's all I got, guys. Thanks for giving me time on the show.
Hey, thanks for the call, Rob. We appreciate it. Joe, I think Rob not a big fan of Todd Downing, his play calling last night.
I'm thinking so. I know it's easier for people to, if you can have one person to blame it on, then it's just so much easier. If you're looking at this offense and telling me that it's just putting them in position and it's not a problem of, a left tackle who can't block and no explosiveness on the outside at all, I can't get there with you.
It's the whole thing. I mean, it's the whole thing. It's Derrick Henry making plays. That's about it right now with this Titans offense. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll take a Titans break real quickly, get into Max Hers, and a big win for the Predators over the weekend. 2 wins in a row for Nashville. We'll get back into the Titans coming up in the 9 o'clock hour as well. All that ahead. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Happy college basketball. This is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. It's opening Monday for hoops, and both Vanderbilt teams will be on the floor tonight. It's Stack versus Penny at Memorial Gym as the Vandy men face Memphis. Both squads will have a number of new faces making their debuts. The Commodores with 9 new players, 7 freshmen. Senior Jordan Wright says it's a lot to learn.
With the leadership we have and the older guys' experience has been pretty much an easier onboarding for those new guys, just making that transition to learning our system and learning how we operate.
First meeting between the Commodores and Tigers since 2005 and the first at Memorial since 1997. Radio coverage on the Vanderbilt Sports Network starts at 6:30 Central, TV on SEC Network Plus. The Commodore women's team heads up I-65 to face Western Kentucky to start year 2 with Coach Shay Ralph. Her team has had some tough injury luck. They'll face the Hilltoppers at 6:30. November begins for Vanderbilt football with a 38-27 loss to South Carolina at First Bank Stadium Saturday. The Gamecocks built an early lead with the help of 2 first-quarter turnovers and converted big plays, including a fake field goal in the third. Commodore coach Clark Lee.
There's some tackling issues on the perimeter. You got to give credit to them. They made plays in space. We have to do better, and there's going to be things within that we control.
A career night rushing for Vanderbilt's Ray Davis, 20 carries for 167 yards, plus a touchdown receiving. Vanderbilt soccer has made a good case for postseason off a strong showing in the SEC tournament. The NCAA bracket will be announced later on today. That is the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey football fans, Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robbie and Rex Road. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Final hour, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rex Road, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning. And as we do every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Max Hers, who's been on the call for the Predators on the Predators radio network out in Western Canada and now on the west coast of the United States as well. Max, good morning. How we doing?
Morning, guys. Been a really fun week so far, getting to travel with the team for the first time ever, and we are now in Seattle, ready for Game 4 of 5 tomorrow night after some practice today with the 2-game win streak.
Nothing says fun like traveling with Hal Gill on the road in Vancouver. Max, back-to-back wins for the Nashville Predators. It looked rough the other night in Vancouver to begin the game. I think one UC Saros probably wants back on the first goal of the game by Vancouver. They were getting dominated really at 5-on-5 for the first half of that game, and then just a really impressive third period to turn it around and then get the win in the shootout What'd you make of that performance on Saturday night, and what can a win like that, do you think, do for this team as they move into taking on Seattle tomorrow?
Not only were they dominated 5-on-5, Robbie, they had 5 minutes and 43 seconds of power play time in that period.
Yeah.
And they still came out of it trailing 3-0, and they still came out of it being outshot 12-3. It was a terrible period. It was pretty much as bad as it gets. And similar to Tuesday, they didn't pull UC Saros, but differently from Tuesday, they found a way to come back in the game, and it started with a power play goal pretty shortly thereafter from the second unit, which Jordan Gross has absolutely changed everything on. He's so dynamic. They're playing him as a second defenseman on the unit, but most of the time he's playing as a forward. So that's been pretty fun to watch. That was the goal that kind of woke them up a little bit. They were able to play a pretty good, not perfect second period, and there were some not-so-great penalty calls in that period too. But then in the third, 2 early goals, Gross, another one from the point off a big face-off win by Mark Jankowski, who is just winning tons and tons of face-offs through his first 2 games as a Pred, as the fourth-line center. He set up the screen on that goal too, so Jordan Gross ends up with his first 2 NHL goals in his second game with the team. And then Nino Niederreiter ties it on a great net drive by Matthias Ekholm, also off a face-off win. That one was in the neutral zone. That tied it up. You get to overtime where there were no whistles. Kind of fun overtime. Little peel-back-y, which I still don't know how I feel about, but it had its chances. Mikhail Gramlin had a good look at the end. And then a shootout that had a hilarious ending with Matt Duchene scoring and Bo Horvat, I don't want to say missing his shot because he didn't get that far.
Yes, that was something special. Let me tell you,
it was amazing.
It was quite an attempt. So so Jordan Gross, what's the deal here, Max? Because I mean, if I follow Robbie Stanley's Twitter account, I have mixed feelings about him as a player.
Just add it to the list of stupid things I've said before.
But hey, I mean, you weren't alone. I mean, like, what's the deal with this guy?
So a couple of things have stood out to me so far. They waited a week after Mark Borowiecki got hurt, which was very obviously a serious injury, even though he didn't go on IR right away. They did not call up the 7th defenseman immediately, which to me signals they didn't call him up until they went on a road trip where you obviously, going as far away as they are, need a 7th defenseman. So in that situation, maybe you'd think this guy is not going to play unless somebody gets hurt. And then he gets into game 2 of the road trip, which I think is good in 2 ways. It shows him, hey, I'm a part of this team. And this is a guy who had only played in a dozen NHL games and last year led all AHL defensemen in points for the Avs AHL team, but only got into 1 NHL game. Obviously, the Avs last year were really good. But I think the fact that he comes on the road trip in November and gets to play in the second game shows to him, hey, I am a part of this team. And it also shows to the other defensemen, because he came in, Dante Fabro was a healthy scratch for the first time this season, and then, because Gross earned the right to stay in, on Saturday, Fabro came back in, and Carrier was a healthy scratch the first time this season. And John Hines has said he wants these defensemen to know everything is an open competition. And I'm sure after those 2 goals, Gross will play again tomorrow night, and they've got a decision on which defenseman they scratch. Do they scratch Carrier again? Do they scratch Fabro? Maybe they would consider scratching Lozon, but I think he's played well. So it kind of opens up the competition. So it helps Gross. It helps all the other defensemen. And then, I mean, you guys saw it, and I imagine, I didn't see your tweets, Robbie, but I imagine this is what you were tweeting about. He gave the Canucks a goal.
That's what I was tweeting about.
Night. Yeah, he gave the Canucks a goal on Saturday night. And he almost gave them another when they hit the post like 10 minutes later. And Matt Duchene said on the radio broadcast in the post-game interview with Hal and I, the mental toughness it takes from he's not a younger player, but a player without a lot of NHL experience playing on a new team to make mistakes like that and come back and be the reason that the team comes back into the game. Duchene was so complimentary of him, and for that to come from a team leader, a veteran, one of the highest paid players on the team, shows what they see in him. And this group knows, like we've seen it with Jankowski these last 2 games too. We've seen it with guys playing in different roles. If you come in and you do well, you have the respect of the best players on this team, and it's cool to see.
Max, last thing for you. To that point, Ekholm moving back to the left, I think has activated him a little bit offensively here, but also he just looks way more comfortable over there. I still question like what the long-term outlook of this team is going to look like with their defense pairings, and Ekholm even talked about it last week on our midday show. There may come a time this year where he's got to move back over to the right, but it feels like he's kind of back in his comfort zone over on the left side, regardless of who he's playing with, and it's working out pretty well for him.
Yeah, and we saw it on the game-tying goal where he gets the puck in the neutral zone, D-to-D pass right to left, and he enters the zone. He ends up with just his left hand on his stick, walls a man off, goes behind the goal, and sets up Niederreiter, who does the rest. And that goal doesn't happen on his backhand all the way, obviously. So I agree with you, and I am also interested to see what they do. But it's just what happens when your 3 best defensemen are left-handed. So I think maybe later in the year it does look different. How, obviously, they don't know yet. But I think as long as all 3 of the left-handed defensemen play well, and McDonough has been pretty good on the road trip so far, I think as long as they're playing well, they'll have a lot of options. And we've also seen a little bit, especially in the last 2 games, Yossi play on the right some, mostly with Ekholm. They've given them some offensive zone starts. They've also given them some D-zone starts. So in times where they maybe didn't want Gross on the ice with Yossi in a high-leverage moment, they've gone Yossi and Ekholm together.
Well, Max, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. It's going to be 44 and rainy in Seattle today, so enjoy that out there. Should be a good time.
Hey, we've had a little bit of everything this trip, but yeah, we were watching NFL games, looking at the temperature in Nashville. Was it like it was 75 degrees everywhere in the U.S. yesterday, and we were in Vancouver?
That is correct. Pretty much.
Yeah, but no, it's been an amazing trip. We went to Lake Louise in Banff, Alberta, which has been the highlight so far. Vancouver was great. All 3 arenas were great. Everybody with the team has been so great to me, traveling with them for the first time. So I couldn't be having a better experience, and hoping for 2 more fun games and 2 more wins.
Well, you're doing a great job on the call. We'll talk to you next Monday, and enjoy yourself. Thanks, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Max Herz, our guest here on Robbie and Rex Road. Yeah, Joe, was an all-timer for me the other night. Throwing out I think it may be time for the Jordan Gross experiment to be over after the giveaway in front of the net, and then he scores 2 goals. It's good stuff from me.
Well, I don't think this is the first time that you've motivated someone within a game on Twitter. Like it's amazing how it can somehow reach their brain.
Man, I just need to keep going. I had
guess
Preds
so.
fans
Maybe
tweeting me the other night, like, "Who else can you call out? Let's go. Let's keep this thing rolling." Maybe so.
Maybe you should be a little more critical of Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that'll make a difference.
Maybe so. If that made a difference, Matt LaFleur would be the greatest coach of all time right now. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, speaking of the Vols, we'll get into the Vols and their loss against Georgia. What does the path to the college football playoff look like in the aftermath of Tennessee's loss on Saturday? That's next. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Fall means cooler weather is coming. Make sure your family is warm in your home with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes an HVAC replacement, germicidal UV light, extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free solo smokeless stove. Or get a free solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and de-escalator. Plus, Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free guarantee. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
The Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is here. Get a bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, plus a small seasoned potatoes. That's a better breakfast for just $3 in 3 easy steps. 1, wake up. 2, get out of bed. And 3, head to Wendy's for your $3 breakfast deal. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hour. Select or request $3 breakfast deal in order to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combos orders. Price and participation may vary in Alaska and Hawaii.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Make sure you check out the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tonight at 6, live from 6th and Peabody. The Eddie George Show brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander gives you more options. More options mean more savings for you. Get your free quote at XanderInsurance.com. Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Monday morning. Joe, it wasn't pretty for the Vols on Saturday down at Sanford Stadium. The Dogs were barking, and they were barking all game long. They win 27-13 against Tennessee in a statement game of sorts for Georgia. Tennessee's offense, which has been unstoppable all season, limited severely by this Georgia team. Hendon Hooker missed some throws in the game, but overall, Georgia's defense was just really good, and Tennessee goes down for the first time this season. They dropped to 8-1. A game, honestly, Joe, where the final score, 27-13, really does not indicate what happened on Saturday. It was pretty much complete domination by Georgia out there.
No, it really was, and you're right. I think that, they had like a 9-minute drive and only got a field goal. Look, Tennessee's defense did make some plays. They also gave up some explosives that you can't do, which is an interesting thing with the cornerback situation moving forward, by the way. It's a really interesting situation, but Georgia picked on them, and Stetson Bennett was great. I think one of the biggest surprises, other than the obvious surprise, which is that Georgia's defense just shut down an offense that had been completely unstoppable, was the lack of pass rush from Tennessee. I was surprised by that. I thought they'd get more done there, and I think that tells you that is a really good offensive line. It's the best team. Georgia's the best team. They're the clear favorite to win it. They are the dominant program in college football now, and you lose all that they lost, and you are this level of team the next year, that's I mean, they are what Alabama used to be. And I'm not saying Alabama won't come back, but what a sobering thing to be Alabama and have a absolutely incredible quarterback and all the talent they have and be out of the playoff here in the first week of November. But for Tennessee, this was a humbling moment without question. Humbling for Hendon Hooker, for the offense. Sometimes it is as simple as like, here's a team with 5 stars all over the field, and here's a team that doesn't have that. It looked that way Saturday, but I'm still very surprised, and I got to raise my hand. I was completely wrong on how this game was going to go.
Well, I think a lot of people were, and I thought if you'd have told me heading into the game that Georgia scored 27, I'd take that all day long if I'm Tennessee, because you think you're at least getting into the 30s, and they just never really approached doing anything. I mean, they had on the first drive, you get the fumble recovery, you start the game well if you're Tennessee, and they got Jalen Hyatt, and I can't remember if this was first drive or second drive, but it was early in the game. He's streaking open wide open down the field, and Hooker just misses him. He misses him on the sideline there. Hyatt gets tangled up. Brew McCoy had a chance later in the game as well, and Hooker missed him on that. It was just a game where Georgia's defense played really well, and when you did have opportunities, Hooker didn't take advantage of them. And we've seen him hit those passes time and again this year, and they just weren't able to do it. Joe, I think it was a combination of that, and to me it just felt like the first time all season athletically Tennessee's receivers didn't have the edge. Like, you threw a one-on-one with Ringo and Tillman, and you're expecting Tillman to go up and get the ball because that's what he does. And Ringo, I mean, you can't play better defense than he played on that play. I mean, you can't do it. And that's why he's probably going to be a first-round pick. But I just thought Georgia athletically was superior to Tennessee in every way on Saturday.
They were. That play was absolutely – that's a first-round cornerback play. That's an NFL cornerback play. Jalen Carter on the – probably should have been a safety, right? That was like, oh, my goodness, that guy is – he might be the number 1 pick, depending on who has the pick. So that's who that guy is, And so sometimes it was that. There were times – look, some of those sacks, it took a while to get to the sack. And Georgia did a great job, without question, downfield. But Hendon Hooker also has to just unload the ball sometimes and then come back for, 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 14 or whatever. I mean, some of those sacks were Georgia brought pressures. They brought the same corner blitz from his blind side several times. He's got to do a better job recognizing it. He seemed rattled. They seemed rattled. 7 false starts. That's there's just a lot this game, and some of it I do think was crowd, and it's just the talent of the opponent, all that stuff, but also just physicality. Kentucky talked a lot about real football stuff, and Tennessee answered that bell, but it is different. This is being on the road, being at home. The crowd helped Tennessee a ton in those home games, Florida, Bama, Kentucky, and the crowd made a difference in this game.
Well, and here's the other thing, Joe. Like, defensively, Georgia exposed them a couple of times. For the most part, Tennessee did a good job on the tight ends. I mean, Brock Bowers had 3 catches in this game, and Washington didn't have a catch. I mean, if you'd have told me that those 2 guys had 3 catches total heading into the game, I'd like your chances if you're Tennessee's defense. Now, Bowers had some big boy moments after the catch where he kind of dominated a little bit and getting yards after the catch, but 3 catches for 27 yards. Tennessee did a good job that way, but I think the thing that I keep coming back around to that we've talked about before, Stetson Bennett's pretty darn good. And for some reason, like, people just never want to give him the credit, but Stetson Bennett's pretty darn good out there.
It's amazing. Even talking to like some of the Georgia writers Saturday, just about like Georgia fans. It's like, how could you not be thrilled to have him as your quarterback? I mean, okay, he's not a projected first-round pick. First of all, I do think Stetson Bennett can play in the NFL. I really do. But I know he's not going to be a prominent draft pick or anything like that. The guy's a heck of a football player. And, of course, found out after the game that apparently his number leaked online. Yeah. So Vols fans got all over that. And, of course, he made sure to let them know about it when he got in the end zone. But, no, man, he's a really good player. Their offenses, that's the thing. Like, if they played Georgia, let's say in the national title game, which, yes, I absolutely think is possible in Los Angeles, January 9th, you're gonna have a split crowd. You're gonna take weather out as a factor, and I do think that Tennessee's offense, with better execution, with some tweaks, can score points on Georgia. Look, Hendon Hooker missed 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's just – and you can't miss him. He didn't miss him against Bama. He missed him against Georgia. But you flip that around, Georgia could do a lot more on Tennessee's defense too. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's and like I said, Georgia picked on those corners and got some – that double move McConkey put on Slaughter was just like, oh, boy, there's a safety playing corner, and I get why they went with him. But that's something Tennessee has to figure out moving forward is who is your secondary? Who's your best secondary?
Well, Joe, with all that being said, things after the Tennessee game, after you lose it, you're wondering, all right, can you get any help? And they did. Clemson goes down in Notre Dame, and Notre Dame just destroyed Clemson in that game. And then you have Alabama going down to LSU. So Alabama's out. Clemson with the one loss in the ACC. I don't know that they're out, but that really damages them losing that game to Notre Dame. So all of a sudden you get a little bit of help. The one thing right now that you still have to keep an eye on, TCU's undefeated. And I know everybody just keeps assuming TCU's going to lose. And I think they got a good chance to at some point. But until they do, to me, TCU's getting in the playoff. So if you can get TCU to lose, which they got a chance, they're playing Texas, and who knows what Texas team will show up. But if they lose that game, then all of a sudden, if you're Tennessee, you're sitting pretty in terms of a playoff spot. You win these next 3 games, you go 11-1. I think with your schedule and your resume, you've got a great chance of getting in. And Tennessee, at least if you're a Vols fan, got some help on Saturday night.
Yeah, now the playoff picture still looks good. This game this week is huge. It's at Texas at night with game day in town.
Yeah.
If they get TCU, like TCU and Clemson, you can't rule them out. Like you said, they have 1 loss, but they would need tons of help. They are not passing neither of them is passing an 11-1 Tennessee team. There's no chance. So you would be down to Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and then the loser of that would be compared against Tennessee. Very interesting. You do have Oregon, which is a very interesting situation if they were to rip through the rest of the Pac-12. They have Utah still. They have a Pac-12 title game potentially still. That could be interesting. The LSU 2-loss SEC champion having beaten Georgia for the best winning college football scenario would be one whale of a discussion. But, I mean, Tennessee says, we beat you by 27 in your place, buddy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I can't see a scenario where LSU gets in over Tennessee. I mean, the head-to-head matchup, losing by 27, has to mean something at home.
I think so too. I think you get the bonus for the championship and you get the bonus for the best win. You have Bama and Georgia. There would be some people who would say, well, that was way back when, and Florida State was all the way back then, and look at this team now. But I think you're right. Tennessee is in pretty. Again, is LSU going to do that? I don't think they're going to. But if you're Tennessee right now, you're a huge Georgia fan. Just win out, beat whoever comes out of the West. You're a huge Texas fan. And if Michigan, Ohio State, if either of those teams can blow out the other one, then I don't see how that loser can – I don't think the loser of that game honestly compares to Tennessee's resume at all. But if it's a great classic game, that's where both of them could be. And I think right now, if I'm picking a playoff, my prediction is Georgia, not in any order. Well, Georgia won, but then it's going to be Ohio State, Michigan, and Tennessee. That would be my guess. Is that your 14 playoff, 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten? That's how I think it's trending.
I think that's very much on the table. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Titans. Their loss last night in overtime to the Chiefs. Take your thoughts. Got a lot to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try some of our new menu items like the Nashville Hot Fish and Chips, Nathan's Hot Dog Burn Ends, or the Nashville Chicken Jam Band. Go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Middle Tennessee football is back in action at home on Saturday, November 12th. The Blue Raiders will take on Charlotte in our 40th annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Forces football game. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. inside Floyd Stadium. Come early and join in on the festivities honoring our veterans. To purchase tickets or for more information, visit goblueraiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee, we are Blue Knighted.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
At Krebs Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right with the parts you need and a service department that provides regular maintenance on all your equipment. From the largest excavator to the smallest two-cycle engine, Krebs Kubota can get the job done. And ask about pickup and delivery options. Stop by Krebs Kubota, located at 2240 Northwest Broad Street, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or visit them at KrebsKubota.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't. They've let Travis play like that, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, flop and hope you get a call, I guess. You're asking the wrong guy. Again, it's Twitter handles at NFL officiating. They can answer any questions. I'm not going to be able to answer them.
It was Vrabel last night discussing the officiating and Travis Kelce ripping off Josh Kalu's helmet in the end zone at NFL officiating, the Twitter account, as Vrabel threw out there last night. The Titans fall 20-17 in overtime against Kansas City. Epic defensive performance by the Titans comes up just a little bit short. Malik Willis in his second start drops to 1-1 as a starting quarterback for the Titans. So, Joe, we talked about this earlier. If you're a Titans fan watching this game last night, you're hanging in there with that offense and that team on the road at Arrowhead. You lose 20-17 with your backup quarterback making his second career start on the road. Obviously, as Vrabel pointed out, and I agree, like there's no moral victory in the NFL. You lost the game, you're 5-3, so it is what it is. But if you're a Titans fan today, what did last night's game tell you about kind of exactly where this team is and what it could mean for them as they move forward here in relation to the rest of the AFC?
Well, I think some of this is how you look at things.
It is.
Do you drift a little toward the sunshiny way? Or are you a little bit more on the demanding excellence side of things? I think you got to feel great about your defense. I don't think anybody could argue with that. This defense was great last night, and it might be great, period. Although Bud Dupree getting another hip injury is bad news.
Yep.
But tremendous performance without Amani Hooker. And that defense, Christian Fulton, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, who would be the defensive MVPs for the Titans right now? I mean, you have to start with Jeffrey Simmons. I think I'd go David Long next, and then probably Christian Fulton. Those three guys are playing at such a high level, but so is Byard. I mean, Byard is Byard still.
Autry is Autry still. It's a really good defense. So you have to feel like your defense can keep you in any game, and that includes in January. Running the football and playing defense still plays in the NFL. The line of scrimmage plays in the NFL. Tony Dungy last night, the one guy who picked the Titans, he said, watch the line of scrimmage. Boy, he looked pretty smart for that, really for the whole game. I mean, when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I get the line of scrimmage, Tony, but Titans can't throw the ball. Well, their defense was better than I would have guessed in that matchup. And Mahomes had some magic, but you got to feel good about that. And you got to feel bad about the offense. I mean, you can't. I mean, there's no positive spin on the offense. Malik Willis got better. He made some better plays. Still a long way away from having any kind of functioning passing game unless Ryan Tannehill is back on the field. The offensive line still struggling to protect. The receivers had zero production. So you're going to be able to stay in every game, and you're probably not going to be able to keep other teams from staying in every game. Well, what it comes down to me, Joe, and what I wonder about with this team, like, how good could this team be if they had an okay passing game? Just an okay passing game. And, look, I know Malik Willis is a part of the discussion, maybe the main part of the discussion in the last two games as to why it's not been great. But they're a bad passing game with Ryan Tannehill in there. Like, what could this team be if they were just okay at throwing the football? I mean, they'd be 7-1 right now. They would be, I think.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, by the way, so Michelle sent this to us last night from Ed Werder. Said on a tweet, he said, quote, I asked Vrabel's sustainability of Derrick Henry taking 26-plus carries a game. This is Vrabel's quote. Quote, we've been able to use him, and he's helped us win a lot of games since I've been here. I don't know what else we would do. Throw it 50 times? I mean, who the bleep would we throw it to? End quote.
Is that not the most Vrabel quote you've ever heard?
Yeah, that was pretty incredible when I saw it.
There's some honesty for you, huh? I mean, that's what it is. But again, I don't know that they're gonna get that much better on the outside, but at least there's a possibility. Traylon Burks, maybe he's back this week. If he is, pour everything into trying to get him the ball.
Yeah,
get him the ball. Is Kyle Phillips back at any point? Get him the ball too.
Okonkwo,
Racing McMahon.
Yeah,
Chig you see that explosive play last night. Look, Austin Hooper. I will say, a little bit more signs of life there.
Agreed.
From him. Go there. I mean, it's like there's at least some hope with Tannehill throwing to those guys. Can you protect him? Can you have any kind of long developing, drop back game that gives these guys a chance to get open and make plays? You're going to have to help out your left tackle. That's for darn sure.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Crazy Billy to the program. Billy, what's going on?
Hey guys, I appreciate you taking my call. Just have to say I'm hoarse and from screaming at the television, a lot of it from great plays out of the defense, or as a team as a whole. I was just a little disappointed there at the last end where we had the ball and it looked like we were just Sandlot right there at the end. But other than that, totally stoked about a team that left it on the field. That, to me, is what football is all about. Someone has to lose and someone has to win. I'm sorry we didn't win. And by the way, I sure wish those receivers would catch some of the balls because it looked like KC knew how to catch the ball. Go Titans, and I hope we beat the Broncos. I'm off.
Hey, thanks for the call. I mean, we've talked about it. Those two passes to Conley and Westbrook-Akine, you got to catch the ball. And as Dennis pointed out earlier, people are acting like they were just streaking wide open throughout the field and dropped it. They were difficult catches. You're in a one-on-one battle, but they both got hit right in the hands with the ball. Like you're in the NFL. You got to catch that ball.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to throw the fade. You're probably going to have to make a contested catch in the NFL, and that's the case. But I think the Conley play especially, oh boy, you got to make that catch against your former team. Like that one was pretty unimpeded. I mean, Westbrook-Akine was a little more, more contested, I'd say, but still, got to make those plays for Malik Willis, because you're just with him. You're throwing screens, and again, that tight end screen was there in overtime, and I don't know why. I know he was being submerged by the pass rush, but I mean, if you know what the play is, you just flip it over there, and Jeff Swaim is off to the races for, I'd say, with his speed, a good 11 yards.
Yeah, he'd get a good. If he gets to double digits, we're living right with Jeff Swaim.
But I think it was there. I mean, they had it blocked. So I mean, it's there was a lot that could have happened, and certainly there's penalties you can complain about too. I mean, I feel like I see more on the text line of what I would agree with. Like, if you can be decent passing the ball, then you've got a good team. Huge if. But again, Derrick Henry looks awesome. So Derrick Henry right now is primed to help this team. If it's Malik Willis Sunday, to me, someone made a joke about going the single wing, but I'm not like, you need to look like the Ravens on Sunday. You need to look more like you looked in the first half and use Willis's run threat and read option a lot and force defenses to make a choice.
By the way, your NFL rushing leader right now, Derrick Henry, at 870 yards after another 115 yards on the ground last night.
There you go. Look, he's getting caught from behind now, so that he didn't used to get caught from behind as much as he is, but boy, he's still the best running back in the league. It's really something, and that's where it is totally fair last night. Look, if you're a Downing hater and you want to blame everything on him, that's fine. You can do that, and then that's all you're talking about today. I think even if you're a Downing apologist, you've got to look at some of those sequences in the second half and say 22's got to get it a couple more times, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we talked about having Hilliard and Henry on the field at the same time, or using Hilliard more. I don't have a problem with that if you're the Titans. Like, I think Hilliard has been one of your better playmakers this year, so finding different ways to get the ball in his hand is fine. Now, they tried to throw that little, the throwback screen to him last night, and it just got torched on a great play by the Kansas City defense there. But to me, when it's 3rd and 4, if you want to have Hilliard in the game, that's fine. But you also need to have Derrick Henry. Like 3rd and medium, I agree with you. I think far too often on 3rd down and 4, 5, 6, 7 in that range, Henry's not out there. And I just think the threat of having him out there is enough to occupy the attention of the defense. Maybe you're not giving it to him every time, but I'd like to see him on the field a little bit more often in those type of 3rd down situations.
I agree. And look, that's you want to try to fix this offense. I think especially with Willis in there, but even like when Tannehill comes back, we talked about this last week. Yeah, put Hilliard in the slot. Like using them both together, I think that's fine. But Henry just off the field. The guy can give the guy a little bit of space and he makes a big play for you. I understand he's not a route runner that Hilliard is, but 58% of the snaps is too low.
More of your thoughts on the Titans and the Chiefs coming up next at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Make sure you tune in this Sunday following the Titans game for the NFL postgame with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow live from the Superbook Lounge in Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. Postgame show brought to you by Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford. Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. This is Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
In honor of Veterans Day, Twin Peaks is celebrating those who have given the ultimate sacrifice by giving back to Tunnel to Towers. Tunnel to Towers is a foundation which helps America's heroes by providing homes to first responder families. Get to Twin Peaks and donate $5 to Tunnel to Towers through November 30th and receive $5 back to spend on yourself at Twin Peaks this December. Visit your favorite Twin Peaks for more information. Valid at participating locations. Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robbie and Rex Road on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rex Road, Michelle Knezovic here with you. Be sure to follow us here at 102.5 The Game on Instagram, at 102.5 The Game Nashville. You can check us out on Instagram. You'll see different pictures of Chase McCabe's face on a daily basis. It's beautiful.
And
on
mine.
the Instagram account. Michelle Knezovic as well. Then I'll put me and Joe on there.
We're going to put Joe out there?
Not enough of Joe's body on this program.
Exactly.
Taking your thoughts on the Titans and the Chiefs. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Joe, I'm going to throw this question out to you that I asked Corey Curtis earlier. Has Christian Fulton shown you enough where you feel like he is a legitimate number one, I don't know if I want to say elite corner, but lockdown corner in this league?
Yeah, he's awfully good. You know, I guess he hasn't had, they don't do a lot of traveling with receivers. So, like, I can't think of a game where it's like, like back in the day, like Deion Sanders against Jerry Rice, man-to-man all day. Let's just see what happens, But he will typically find himself on the best receiver on the opposing team. And, yeah, I think he's taken another step this year. I don't know where he would rank in this league, but he's definitely, in my opinion, the best cornerback the Titans have had. I mean, I don't know, someone would have to go way back. I think this is the best cornerback play I've seen 7 seasons around this team. I'd say by a pretty significant margin. There were some good moments from Adoree Jackson, some good stretches from Butler, from Logan Ryan. Different kind of player, Logan Ryan, right? I mean, just as a straight-up outside corner who can run with you and who can play physical. Comes up with aggression and makes plays. Yeah, he's the best corner they've had in a long, long time. I'd like to actually hear that from a Titans fan. He's the best corner since when? It's been a while.
It's a great question. It's been a while. I wonder if you're a player in that locker room, not that they were lacking any confidence heading into the game, because I don't think that they were. But now that you've seen that game play out and your defense played that way on the road in primetime against that offense. I mean, look, Joe, it's a very real possibility that the Titans could see the Chiefs later again this year in the playoffs. That absolutely could happen. Mahomes was talking about that last night in the postgame interview on Sunday Night Football. Like, I would have to think that you'd have a pretty good amount of confidence if you're the Titans defensively with what you were able to do against that team. And it's not just that game. Like, the Titans, for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, I don't know if it's personnel, I don't know if it's style, if it's Vrabel, what it is, but for whatever reason, they just seem to have a lot more success against Kansas City than most teams do in the league. And that was, again, the case last night with the Titans defense. So, look, it's Mahomes. Last night's a good example of you can shut him down for a lot of the game, and he can still kill you. And he did that to the Titans last night. But I would have to think, even though you lose the game, and I know Vrabel doesn't want any part of the moral victory stuff, and I understand it, but the confidence has got to be there with the Titans defense. Should this be a matchup that the Titans have to take on again this year in Arrowhead, taking on the Chiefs?
Yeah, and it's kind of gotten progressively better if you think about go back to 2019, that wild win at home. But the Chiefs went up and down the field. You had the blocked field goal. And,
yep.
You know, the offense won the game, and then really the AFC Championship game, their plan was really good, and it was Kelsey and Hill beat us with somebody else. It took that ridiculous Mahomes run. I want to say, who was it who killed him that day? Was it Watkins? I think Watkins had huge. But the game plan worked. I think last night's performance was more impressive than last year. I know last year they gave up 3 points. I think last year the simple answer was their pass rush with Dupree, full go with Landry, Simmons, Autry. They overwhelmed what was at that point a really struggling offensive line. Very impressive. But I think last night in that stadium with the Chiefs playing the way they are offensively, I think that's the most impressive of all of them. And I understand you can look at the numbers. Mahomes threw for 1,000,000 yards, but boy, he had how's his arm feeling today? I hope there's just a glacier on that thing. I mean, they were so impressive last night. And I agree. I think you have to look at now the matchup is, and you know, Collinsworth pointed out well in the film some last night how much they were shifting their coverage toward Kelsey. They don't have a Hill to worry about anymore. Now the Chiefs are still really good, and I think Mahomes has grown to use the whole offense. And last night they started using little empty spots of the field when Kelsey drew coverage the other way. But you make them earn it like that and get stops in the red zone, you got a chance to beat them. If the Titans go in there with Ryan Tannehill and any semblance of a passing game, they got a chance to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question. And it's one of those things, too, where I just look at the Titans defensively and wonder what's it going to look like when Molden's back, when Hooker's back, and if Bud Dupree can stay healthy. Now, at this point, that's just becoming such a big if to me that I don't even know if I can consider it. But with Hooker, I mean, look, I said earlier, I think Andrew Adams has played really well at safety. But if you get Hooker back and you get Molden back and he kind of shakes off some rust that I just kind of assume is naturally going to be there, I feel like this defense is already very good. How good's it going to be when you get that part of it figured out? Because, I mean, you still have Terrence Mitchell playing significant snaps last night for this Titans defense. What's the defense going to look like when he's not?
Yeah, I mean, Molden seems so far away, you know, such a distant thing. But again, returned to practice last week, so wouldn't be a huge shock. You know, what if you get Molden and Hooker back this week? You know, I mean, at this point, I'm with you on Dupree, and that's a real problem. That's a real problem if you can't count on him. But they do have some other guys who have stepped up, and you still have Simmons, Autry. As someone on the text line pointed out, you got to give Tart some love too. Simmons, Autry, Tart, they're getting other guys on the edge making some plays, and Long is so good. Long is all over the field. So they have a lot of answers, and they're going to be a lot of opponents in the next few weeks that don't score a lot of points against them, whether they have Dupree or not. I don't see a lot happening in the postseason for this team if they can't get him available for that, and also obviously all the offensive pieces who are missing right now.
Well, to that point, going to be really interesting this week, Joe, to keep an eye on Ryan Tannehill. Like, I'm not sure we're going to learn much throughout the week. Obviously, Vrabel and the staff are going to be hush-hush about that, and we'll see what the injury report looks like. But just based on watching him warm up yesterday, I think there's a real chance that Malik Willis could be making his third consecutive start for the Titans when Denver comes to town on Sunday. And if so, that's a problem. Like it's Ryan Tannehill watch season in Nashville here.
Would you consider Woodside? Talked about last week. Would you consider Woodside?
I mean, I would, but I don't. I mean, at this point, I don't think they're going to. Like you've got 2 starts in a row for Willis. I do think he got better than he was against Houston. I guess the hope would be, can you continue to pour into him and he continues to get better coming up on Sunday? The problem is, like, I don't think Kansas City's defense is, like, especially good. I think they've got some good pieces and they're okay. I think Denver's defense is pretty good. Matter of fact, it's the only reason that they're not the worst team in the NFL. So if Malik Willis is the quarterback Sunday, that Denver defense is going to cause some problems for the Titans. It just is.
I agree. But I think, last week I said you got to switch to Woodside. I thought so going into the game. I think after what you saw in the first half last night, you stick with Willis and you really, really dig in on creativity and using him as a runner. And, and that's how you do it. And you try to pick your spots again with a little play action, little boots, one half of the field or one read boots, throw a couple more fades, but run him more, read option more. I mean, you got like creativity from Todd Downing has got to be at a premium here. And I think that's your better route than just switching to Woodside.
Titans fall 20-17 last night, dropped to 5-3 on the season. Still in good shape in the AFC South, and we'll see what Tannehill's injury status looks like as the Titans move forward. We'll get a lot more into that as the week progresses here on Robbie and Rex Road. That does it for us here today. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase is coming up next. They'll have you covered on the Titans and the Chiefs and the Vols and the Bulldogs as well. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talk The Game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.